It's a new year, y'all. And for me, I've never been one to do resolutions. I do solutions. And for the past almost 2 years, I've been drinking AG1 every single day, thanks to my brother, Dr. Andrew Huberman, who turned me on to this incredible product. Every day, every morning, no exceptions, just one scoop and a glass of water. They also make packs that you can travel with. That's been very, very helpful for me as a active touring person. Having these packets with me all around the world has been really, really helpful. So if you're a musician or somebody that is always on the go, the travel packs are incredible. AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, and pre and probiotics. It's very powerful, it's very healthy, and it's really simple, man. Healthy aging shouldn't feel complicated. The thought of taking multiple supplements and all these types of vitamins and stuff and powders, it's truly exhausting for me. I've never been one to take a lot of multivitamins anyway throughout my whole life. I always prided myself in just eating vegetables and eating all the stuff I need naturally, not in a pill form. So this is incredible. It covers my nutrient gaps. It supports my mental and physical health. AG1 is hassle-free, 60 seconds every morning. It's the high-quality ingredients of pre and probiotics, adaptogens and antioxidants, and whole food sourced nutrients. I drink it every single day. Every batch of AG1s goes through rigorous testing processes, and their ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrient density. If there's one product I can suggest you guys, is the AG1s, man. This has been a life changer for me. So go to ag1.com/OLLC and you can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. With AG1, I know I'm getting essential brain, gut, and immune health support, vitamins, probiotics, and nutrients for the day, and it's helped my mental and physical. So if there's one thing I can recommend to you guys, it's AG1s. It's my nutritional insurance. I pride myself as almost being 54 years old, not going to the doctor all the time. Knock on wood. I've been healthy my whole life and try to strive to be a healthy person, stay young, stay full of energy, and still do the things I love that I did as a kid. That's why I still skateboard, play music, exercise. So start the year off right. AG1, ag1.com/OLLC. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. If you want to just get Liquid Death water, go to amazon.com. But for the merchandise and other cool items, exclusive items, go to liquiddeath.com/Toby and get free shipping. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst. Stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have my man, Jonny Two Bags, Jonny Wickersham, which I always knew your last name, but I've always known you as Two Bags. It's crazy when you have friends who are adults, grown-ups in society, but they still have a nickname. I think it's awesome. Do people still call you Two Bags?
Yeah, the old friends do.
Yeah.
People like you do, or Bags or whatever. And
where'd that name come from?
Okay, so a long time ago, I was trying to get off drugs.
Okay.
And a friend of mine was helping me get clean and everything, and he gave me a job. He was working for a cable company, a cable TV company at the time, and what we did is we went down to, this is down in Orange County. We we would work on these big tract housing developments.
Yeah.
And we were pulling cable for the cable TV, because back then it was still cable TV. And our boss was this old dude, this convict from this dude that did like decades in San Quentin. He owned this company we worked for, and he was on the job with us. This old dope fiend, Jack. And Chris was singing while he was working. He was singing that that song on the Harder They Come soundtrack called Johnny Too Bad by the Slickers.
Probably, yes.
The Jimmy Cliff movie,
Yeah,
So the Harder They Come is like the legendary
totally.
record that I heard all my life growing up at my house from my old man played it. He's singing that, walking down the road with the ratchet in your waist, Johnny, you're too bad. And the old Jack heard him, but he didn't understand exactly what he said, and he replied with like something like, Jonny, 2 bags, that's right. A bag of dope and a bag of shit that comes with it or something.
Oh, man.
Something like that. It stuck.
Wow. That's amazing. And that just became your nickname.
It became my nickname, and it stuck like glue. And I've tried to shake it a few times over the years, but it just doesn't seem to work.
How old were you then?
I was 19 years old.
Okay. So since a teenager, you've been called that, yeah.
Yeah.
But some people just call you, whatever. 2 bags is good. Or just call you 2 bags, yeah. How long have you been sober now?
36 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah. It took a minute, but it finally stuck.
So you were, let's rewind a little bit. So you're 19 and you're working. Obviously, did you graduate high school and stuff?
I did not. No. I barely made it into the 10th grade before I dropped out.
Wow. Just because you didn't care?
I didn't care. I didn't care about much in those days. I mean,
I was partying and hanging?
Yeah, I was definitely partying and doing a lot of drugs and getting in a lot of trouble. And I mean, at that point, I started 10th grade at a continuation school, Back Bay High, and Metallica played there in I think it was 83.
What?
Yeah.
You played at the school?
Yeah. So did a punk band called The Hated from our area.
Wow.
But yeah, Metallica played the school back when they were first starting.
Because they went there or something?
I think Lars might have gone there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was before I was there. I was there a couple years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to go to school because my probation officer was like, you got to at least be in school. I was just blowing it all the time. But then I ended up dropping out of 10th grade, not even halfway through that year, I think.
Were you living at home still?
Yeah.
Were your parents strict about that? Were they?
They tried to be. They tried to be strict about it, but
you're a little rebel.
Well, yeah, and they weren't really the greatest example. I'm not trying to bag on my parents or anything,
yeah.
but yeah, they were doing their own thing too, and the example that was set for me wasn't really the greatest. And so even though they didn't like, my old man didn't like me getting into trouble, because really what it meant was that he had to deal with it.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it was just me.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was just a pain in the ass. It was always something all the time. It was always like the school was calling about something, or I was getting arrested already at a super young age.
Wow. How young were you when you started hanging out in the streets?
Well, I don't know if it was hanging out in the streets. It wasn't like...
Or getting in trouble, like being outside, whatever it is.
Well, man, the crazy thing is I was running around unsupervised when I was 5 years old, when I was still with my mom, before I went to stay with my dad.
Okay.
And
so they split up early?
They split up real early.
I
think I was 2.
Wow.
And we moved to Fullerton for a little bit, and then we wound up in Laguna, down in Orange County, that that really beautiful beach town down there, which at the time was like a full hippie commune back then. This was if I was 5-6 years old, it would have been 72, 73. And yeah, it was hippies, it was artists, it was Hare Krishnas, and and the greeter. If anybody knows anything about that town, there was this old man called the greeter who stood out on Coast Highway and waved all the time. And I'm old enough to remember that guy, the actual first greeter.
Was he scary or was he cool?
No, he was cool. Everybody loved him. There's statues of him and shit down there. And
he just waved to people.
Yeah, he just waved to people driving down Pacific Coast Highway. Wow. It was a cool place, but it wasn't now it's just out of control. It's super unaffordable.
Okay.
You just can't. You got to be mega fucking rich to live there. And back then it wasn't like that at all. It was just just some funky little beach town, kind of like a lot of them, back in those days. These places, they weren't, you didn't have to have a lot of money to live. We lived at the beach, but we didn't, but I grew up in 2-bedroom apartments.
Yeah.
And we moved all the time. We never really stayed anywhere for more than a couple of years at a time. But
you switching schools and stuff?
Yeah, always switching schools. And
that's hard.
Even in the time we were in Laguna, I went to 3 schools.
Oh, wow.
I started kindergarten at this, there was a school called Top of the World Elementary. I started kindergarten, got kicked out of kindergarten, and had to go back to preschool for...
What?
Yeah, I was just really hyper. I was just out of control. I mean, me, I've always been pretty chill, but
chill.
But I was starting fights with kids on the playground and shit, and just I don't know what was up with me back in those early years.
Did they have you on medication for being over hyper?
Yeah, they put me on Ritalin.
Ritalin.
Yeah,
right. I was almost on that too. Bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, I was bouncing off the walls for sure. And
that's way before there was like ADHD or ADD and stuff like that. I was just like hyper whatever. Yeah.
I'm in therapy now finally. Like at 56, like finally like digging all this shit up.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been determined that I have like major ADHD. Like
you had your whole life.
My whole life not knowing it and like wondering why is everything so fucking hard for me to do and hard for me to figure out. Like why do I have all these crazy, like issues, with life that make it such a toil and struggle because, I feel like a dumbass. I just like, I've grown up, like I've just lived. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with me? And it's like, oh.
Why do you think it took so long to get looked at and figure it out?
Why am I just now doing that?
Yeah.
It just came to a point where I had to. And, it's actually kind of a long story, but I was as you know, I was out of commission last year.
Yes.
With my neck, right?
Yep.
So my neck like is all fucked up from carrying a Les Paul on stage for the past 35, 40 years or whatever it's been. And so I had to get on this drug called gabapentin, which is what I took for the pain because I don't want to take like a narcotic, or something that's going to make me feel loaded, right? I just don't ever want to.
Scary, yeah.
Like I've been lucky all these years that I've been clean that I haven't had to take anything like that. It's just too risky. I've seen it take so many good people down, man.
For sure.
Like that were just doing great. One minute they're doing great. They got a career. They're raising a family. They're showing up for life. And then something happens. They get a fucking root canal.
Something,
and they take, some Vicodins, and all of a sudden it's like, what happened to so-and-so? Oh man, they've been downtown smoking crack for the last month. Man. It sounds crazy and unrealistic, but that's how it goes down in a lot of cases. It's just really sad, man. And so I've always been super, vigilant. Well, I haven't even had to be vigilant because nothing really happened.
Yeah.
I've been super lucky with these kinds of things, over the years. But so it finally happened, right? My neck just like it just got stuck. We came home from Europe. We went to Europe last summer for our first tour back after COVID. And I came home, and over the next month after getting home, my neck started just getting stiffer and stiffer every day until all of a sudden one day I couldn't move it. And
just
it was and my head was sort of tilted kind of forward.
Whoa.
And like to the side a little bit, and I couldn't straighten my head. I couldn't put it on top of my shoulders in its proper position.
Yeah.
And I was in the worst physical pain I've ever felt by far in my life. Like, cause all these nerves were being compressed all through my shoulder, under my scapula, down into my left arm.
Yeah. My
arm was losing muscle strength. It was atrophying like super fast, my hand, everything. And so I'm seeing doctors, and they gave me gabapentin, and the doctor was like, listen, if it's not working, if it's not effective for the pain, you can up the dose. Okay, don't tell don't tell a drug addict that shit.
Yeah.
Don't give me like
these options.
These options, man. So and it wasn't getting me high at all. Like it wasn't zero head change. So I didn't feel like I was risking my, sobriety or anything like that, but it wasn't working. And I kept taking a little bit more every week. I'd just up the dose.
Wow.
Till finally I'm on 2,400 milligrams a day of this shit.
What did it start off at?
300 milligrams.
Okay.
And it's working. It's helping me with the pain to the point where I can now go to these therapists and get like something called myofascial release, which is like trigger point, because the soft tissue around my neck and shoulder was like, it had literally turned into like concrete.
Wow.
It was gnarly, like just
That's
rock
crazy.
hard, pushing on the nerves. It was just insane.
Is that common for musicians, you think?
Well, for me, okay, so here's why. Here's the why. Got the MRI, and the images showed that all 7 of my cervical vertebrae have like really significant degenerative wear and tear.
Okay.
like the actual bone. Forget about the discs for a minute. It's like the actual bones are like worn out. So like I've been hanging my head down, you know, like this.
Yes.
I tend to have really bad posture that way with my neck. Like now, since this has happened, I've seen old pictures of me and I'm like, look at my head. It's like completely hanging forward.
Yeah.
And my guitar, I'm trying to look cool. So my guitar's down at my knees like Dee Dee Ramone
Totally.
or whatever, you know, and so, of course, that's why it's worn out mostly on this side.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking this way. Okay, also, this thing right
looking
here.
Down your phone.
I'm looking at my phone, you guys, and it's, how long have we had these things? 15, 17, 18 years?
It's going to come out. It'll come out in a couple.
Right? So I have, you know, Sheila used to, like, I'd be sitting in a chair on the couch or something, like staring down at my phone for an hour. And she'd be like, lift your head up, dude. Like, you're just like totally forward. So there's that. There's 15 plus years of this device.
For sure.
Right? And have you heard of text neck?
Text neck? No, but it makes sense.
Okay,
no.
So it's like a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially
it's coming.
It's coming, and a lot of people are getting it, especially like younger people who get on these devices at a young age.
Just born on those, man.
Yes.
From iPads to phones.
Exactly. And they call it text neck or tech neck is another one. The actual medical term is reverse cervical lordosis.
Okay.
So the lordosis would be the natural curvature of your neck spine.
Okay.
Right? It goes like that. From the base of your skull, it kind of curves in, right?
Yeah.
So when you've been staring down for so long, it goes the opposite way. The lordosis is the curve.
Okay.
So the reverse lordosis is like the hump. So you get this hump. And that's what happened, and it got stuck.
Yeah.
It's gnarly, right? And so
no surgeries or nothing?
I'm trying so hard to
avoid
that.
Everything.
Yeah,
like acupuncture, probably everything you tried. Yeah.
I mean, I was almost like, because I also got some stuff going on in the lumbar area, you know, and I was almost about a couple years ago ready to go to Germany to this surgeon because
my
a couple of our two of our good friends,
Luke Westman, Tim Hendricks went there.
Yeah, Tim and also Matty O'Brien.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And they're great.
Oh, from Jersey.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Dirty Mary. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they got new discs. I think Tim's was like 3 or 4, right? And then
he was surfing like soon after that too.
Yeah,
man.
like 3 weeks later or something. He was out in the water.
That's definitely the last resort, right? Yeah.
But I just I don't know if it's really time for that yet, and I'm trying to avoid surgery at all as long as possible. You know, hopefully I can. I'm doing a lot to combat this stuff, you know. But back to the reason we're even discussing this, the therapy or whatever. So I'm on this high dose of gabapentin for 4 months.
Okay.
It helped. It did what it was supposed to do. Unfortunately, it took a mega dose to do it. And then everything's getting better now. I'm feeling way better, and I'm like, I want off this shit. As it was, I was in between doctors. I was in between GPs because I was switching insurance plans.
Okay.
So I didn't have anybody to consult. I consulted the internet.
It's a bad move.
It was a bad move, dude. And
it's scary to look at things on the internet, man.
So I'm like, oh, you got to come off this shit slow. Okay, I get it. You know, I've kicked heroin a bunch of times. I know how easy. You know, it's like it ain't that bad. You know, I'll be okay in 10 days, right? So what I did is I did this exactly. Here's what happened. I knocked it from 2,400 milligrams to 1,200 milligrams overnight.
Yep.
The following week, I knocked it down to 800, and then the following week after that to 400. And then about a week after that, I woke up and had a panic attack.
Wow.
Through the roof. Like through the roof anxiety.
Have you had one of those before?
Not like that.
Okay. I never had one. It's scary.
I had a couple small ones at the beginning of COVID.
Okay.
Like watching movies with Sheila at night, and all of a sudden I'd be like, I can't breathe. And it was out of the blue, and I'd never really had something like that happen before. Yeah. Now, you know, granted, I've lived my entire life with a certain amount of sort of low-grade anxiety and depression since I was a kid, which probably explains a lot of my behavior as a younger person. You know, I was really, you know, not functional at all. Mm-hmm. But anyways, these panic attacks started, and it was just crazy, dude. It was just...
So they continued
for months and months and months and months.
After you slowly get off it, and drop the dosage?
Well, I finally went to a new doctor, and he put me up to 900 milligrams from 4, and he goes, okay, we're going to bump you back up for a while, and you got to come down super slow off this. What I did in 3 weeks, I should have done in like 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
Right? It's insane.
Scary though, man.
Yeah, and it's insane how much of that shit I was on to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And dude, they're prescribing that for everything right now. What I read is that I think Pfizer developed it, and I think that they were trying to sell it as an anti-seizure medication, and they were having a hard time. So they started looking for other symptoms that it could treat. And they discovered that it helps with migraine headaches. They discovered that it helps with anxiety and seizures, and and a few other things, right? And just to sell the shit, you know? And
it's crazy, man.
Right. And so, but there's some really bad things about it. My new doctor, when I told him what I did upon my first meeting with this guy, he says, I hate that shit. I won't prescribe gabapentin to anybody. It's bad. It's bad news, you know?
Damn.
Because it's a neuro drug, and it's a nerve blocker. So essentially what happened was, for 4 months, I didn't experience any anxiety.
Okay.
And I didn't even really realize it though either. But what was happening was all that shit was just completely blocked off from my brain, right? And then I came off it super fast, and it just like opened the floodgates. And it was too much for my brain chemistry to handle. It was gnarly, man.
That's scary. So what do you want now?
0.
Wow.
But as of about a month ago.
Wow.
I finally am completely off of it. And,
how do you feel?
I mean, a lot better, like way better, but I still, every single day, I have like moments or periods that sometimes might last a couple hours where it's like, gets kind of dark.
Wow, man.
You know, and it's like my brain is like trying to reconfigure itself. But also,
think about how many millions of people that are on all kinds of medications like that. The doctors keep upping and putting it up and down, like just making money off it, not really thinking about it's crazy scary, man.
I mean, I have the paper at home that says like you have to come off this drug slowly, consult your doctor. I have that I brought home from my first when they first prescribed it to me. But like, doesn't it make sense that if you were a doctor and you were prescribing something like this to somebody, that you would say, like, before that person left, you would say, hey, look at me. Like, look at me in the eye while I tell you this information. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around with this shit. Don't come off it by yourself. Don't try to cold turkey it or even anything remotely close to that. Like, you know, doesn't it make sense? But they don't. They're so cavalier. They're just like, oh, you know, okay, here you go.
It's
like,
just in and out, give this and leave. It's like they should ask you a little background check about you. Have you been addicted to anything in the past? Stuff like that, like knowing your history. Because it is quick to just get you out. Give them this, give them that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I've typically like been not good about even going to the doctor my whole life, because I've been lucky and haven't really had to, but like I don't like it, and I don't.
But we have.
I don't want to be on medications. I don't want to be on anything. You know, it's like. Have
you got a colonoscopy yet too?
Oh yeah, I got my first one a while back.
Sick. I just got mine too. I was so scared. I'd never been put under before. I was so nervous. I did. It was like the best sleep of my life.
Dude,
it was so easy.
You know what's crazy about that? I did that during the panicky shit.
Okay.
It was just a few months ago.
Oh wow.
And what's it called? It's called Twilight.
Yeah.
Right. So I did the procedure. They put me under. I did the procedure, and.
Were you nervous?
Not really, no, because I had done something similar for a tooth thing
You've been put under
a few
before?
years ago. Not totally put under, but put on just the gas.
Yeah.
Which, when I did, so real quick, when I did I had to get a root canal, and they had to give me the gas, right? And I had never had the gas, dude.
Me either.
And I was so afraid for like my sobriety.
Yes.
I didn't even know what the gas was going to do to me. I was completely ignorant. But but I was so scared I almost started crying in the dentist chair. Like, am I about to, like, what's happening? Like, am I going to be okay? And they administer it, and it's like nothing. Like, it didn't do shit, right? But this thing with the Twilight, so for some reason I wasn't really worried about it, and they put me under, they do the procedure, and then the next thing I hear is, Mr. Wickersham, it's time to wake up. Yeah. And I woke up, and so I've been in the midst of this crazy anxiety for months at this point, and I wake up from this, and I felt so good. And it took me a few minutes, right?
Yes.
To realize that, why do I feel so comfortable? I realized that it was a complete absence of fear. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like whatever that was.
For the first time in a long time.
Yes, for the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
I just felt completely peaceful. And then little by little, it took about 20 minutes, dude. My stomach started to tighten up kind of in my chest, you know, and I felt that shit start to creep back in.
Man. That's crazy.
It's so brutal. I've never been through anything. I mean, dude, even before I got clean, you know, like, I mean, you know, I wasn't using drugs for long. I was obviously a very young person, but you know, 7 years of pretty hard going. And the last 3, I was, you know, a full-blown heroin addict. And
you had some scary, like almost overdoses and stuff.
Yeah. And just all that shit, and just kind of out there in the street, you know, doing it. Like I started at a low point and just went lower. I never had any like rock and roll fun drug years. Like it started like
dark and got darker.
It really did, you know, because my life was already like that at that point. You know, I just was, you know, I got in a lot of trouble, you know, growing up, and I just couldn't stay out of trouble. And you know, I was on probation, you know, all that shit.
Yeah, we on probation for it.
I was on probation since like 3rd grade till after I had a couple years sober.
No way.
Just
3rd grade. How young you tried? Was like the first thing you tried drinking or smoking or something?
Well, my dad smoked weed with me when I was like 6 with him and his buddies.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't remember. I remember the day that we did it, but I don't remember like feeling any effects from it at all. And he smoked me out a few times before I ever actually felt. But by 12, I was like getting into his stash on my own and like sneaking it, right? And like I'd like roll joints, and I lived by myself, so you know we lived in like I said, we grew up in two-bedroom apartments. So like I always had a room. I was lucky. I had a place, you know. But I would pop the window open at night and like put my head out there and just take a few hits off of a joint and just like.
And how old were you then?
I was 12 years old.
Wow.
But like, dude. It just, you know, that
he's the one who turned you on to it though too, which is crazy though.
But yeah, that sense of ease and comfort, you know, it was always the effect, man. It's like when I started smoking weed on my own at about that age, 12, I went after it like with the same vigor that I went after, you know, chasing dope, you know, heroin.
Yeah.
Later in life. Like we, you know,
you just wanted like a stronger high, just really keeps going like that, right?
Well, kind of, or it's just around and you do it or you don't or whatever. Like, you know, I mean, but yeah, I was after like, you know, I started 13, 14 years old. Like me and my friends were jumping fences and stealing plants from people we knew were growing. Wow. And, you know, I'm actually really ashamed of this move, but I ripped off a friend of mine's dad for a pound when I was like 14.
Holy shit.
You know,
you got caught?
I ended up getting, well, what happened is I ended up going to court. I did this while I was on house arrest for something that I did when I was, you know,
wow.
That's a whole nother thing. But like I ended up getting locked up for a year and a day.
Juvie or something? Or?
Yeah, in a youth camp. Like right after that. So the guys, apparently I heard that they found out that it was me. Not that the guy's dad was what was he gonna do? I'm a 14-year-old kid. He's not gonna like, you know, come fuck me up or something.
Yeah,
but maybe he would have had some, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
But I got locked up and he couldn't get at me. But it was a shitty thing to do. Like I knew this kid kind of, not real well, but he was a kid from school and he made the mistake of showing me.
Yeah, his dad's stash. Wow.
It's funny, you know, as we're talking about getting older or whatever, we're 50, you know, you're 53, I'm 56, and we're talking about these things. And there was a time years ago when I would have been telling this story with some bravado or something. Like I would have been boasting, you know, like, oh, I did all this and I did that. And now I tell these stories and I'm kind of like it's kind of shameful, like that kind of behavior. Like I'm not proud of any of that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's just fucking chicken shit, man. Like
you also was that kid too.
That kid probably gotten so much. Can you imagine? You know,
you never talked to him again after that?
Dude, I ran into him twice after that.
No way.
A few years later, once at a supermarket at like 10 at night in Costa Mesa.
And how was it?
It was weird, man. Like I don't even know why I was in that market at 10 at night or why he was there, but we ran into each other in one of the aisles and I just like, I go, hey man. And I immediately apologized. I immediately said, "Hey, I'm sorry," and I wasn't sober yet. I wasn't trying to like
make
amends or make it right. I just was like, oh fuck, I was kind of put on the spot. What am I gonna do? And I didn't know if he was gonna maybe just fucking start fucking swinging on me or whatever.
Cool.
Dude, he couldn't say anything. It was weird. It was like he didn't say anything to me.
Wow.
Then I saw him at a party not long after that. And I was like, hey, I tried it again. He wouldn't acknowledge it. It was almost like, I don't know what
that's crazy.
Maybe, but like maybe he just wasn't good at confrontation or something,
for sure.
But like, well, whatever. What a lame move, right? You know what I mean?
And then
I remember my sponsor, my program sponsor, years and years later, like we were doing some you do the steps, right? And all that.
Yeah.
I'm okay talking about this stuff, but I won't, I don't bring anybody else into it. But, then we were looking at maybe some amends that should have been made.
Yeah.
That I hadn't got to. And I brought that up, but when I brought it up to him, I was like, yeah, but when it's drug shit, you don't have to make that right. That's just part of that's the game. Like some kind of just bullshit, like cop out justification or something. And he goes, wait, what happened? And I explained it to him and he goes, oh no, dude, you got to try to find this guy. Like the dad.
Yeah.
And you got to pay him.
Wow.
And I'm like, for weed? And he's like, yeah. I have no idea where these people are. And so I had to like go like call it like a living amends where you can go like give some money somewhere else to somebody who needs, you know what I mean?
That is so crazy. Once you ever see the dad in your life, you never know. Who knows?
Yeah.
So what was the first hard drug you did? Was it cocaine or something like that? Or that seems like the one after weed and cigarettes now, but not maybe not.
No, I think that the first harder drug I took was acid probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Probably acid.
You weren't scared of nothing, huh?
Well, when my buddies all started messing around with needles and shit, I was.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a dummy, man. I knew like we're a bunch of fuck ups. I'm a fuck up. I've been blowing it my whole life, right? I'm like, this is it. Like you go down this road and it's curtains.
Yeah, man.
Like the only thing I knew about that world was the only thing I'd ever heard was like, once a junkie, always a junkie. Right? And I saw those, I saw those drug films that they'd show us in school and all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I tried my best to like not go down that road with my friends.
Yeah.
But eventually it's just like, it's all so chaotic. And at some point, I did it. I got my wings, man. And that was it, dude.
And how old were you first time you tried heroin?
16, I think.
Okay. Out of high, what are you doing? What are you doing? You quit school like at 10th grade. What are you working?
No, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like
hanging.
And I didn't just drop out overnight. I wasn't like, I was like, I'm not going to school anymore. Like gradually I'm just showing up less and less.
Yeah.
Until I'm just not even going there. But I'm totally getting loaded and like, every day was just like kind of a grind. It was like every day is like literally like just hustling $40 together or whatever for this like little bullshit life I'm living. And I was never any kind of a, baller, dude. Like I didn't deal drugs and I just wasn't, I wasn't like straight like robbing people or
I was going to ask you,
like
are you stealing from your parents and shit like that or no? Yeah.
I mean, but my parents never had much. And so I kind of tried not, I actually have a conscience and had a conscience too then at times, and other times maybe I didn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to steal. My dad didn't have much, we didn't have a lot, you know what I mean? But I'd steal his drugs though. Okay. I definitely didn't have a problem.
So we had more than weed in the house.
Yeah. Like the first time I did mushrooms, I took him from my dad. And the first time I did cocaine, I found, a couple vials that he had, those little, he didn't do drugs. So they had these little.
Yeah. I've seen those in the movies.
Yeah. Right. And so.
Is your pop still here?
No, he's passed away. But anyways, I just wasn't, I wasn't going to school and I was just running around, getting loaded. I wasn't going to shows.
Were you surfing and skating or anything like that growing up?
I mean, for a minute, you know what I mean? But I just nothing was more important
than drugs.
I couldn't even play in a band. I couldn't do anything, and I wasn't even going to shows. Like I missed out on years of cool shows and shit. Wow. Because like I couldn't get out of this loop that I was in between Costa Mesa and like Santa Ana, which is where all the dope was.
Got you.
You know what I mean? And it was just like riding the bus back and forth or getting out there however I could, because you'd go cop in Santa Ana and then come back. And at one point I was like kind of homeless, and I was about 18 years old or something, not long before I got clean.
Yeah.
I was at a pretty low point and I didn't have anywhere to live, and not like homeless, like I'm on Skid Row or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just like staying here and there. But that also didn't, but also like I knew of this broke down school bus that like, you could crash out in at night. And like for a while, me and one of my fucking partners we'd sleep on top of a Carl's Jr. that we knew how to get up on the roof. We'd go up there at night. And this Costa Mesa PD that, was real familiar with, we were familiar,
Yeah.
One time he was hitting me up one day and he's like, so where do you cop, And I go, well, Santa Ana. We go out to Santa Ana. And even though there were places even right around there where I live, where I'm in Costa Mesa, but I wasn't going to tell him that. You know, I go over here to Maple Street and there's that carport, you know what I mean? So I go, no, I go to Santa Ana. And he goes, well, why don't you just stay there? Like, why do you bother coming back to Costa Mesa? Because like, just leave, get out of our hair.
Basically, yeah.
And I go, because it's dangerous at night.
Wow.
I'm not going to go sleep outside in Santa Ana.
Did you start playing guitar at an early age too, or just?
Yeah, my dad was a musician.
Okay.
And he worked in bars mostly, but he taught me some chords at a young age.
Okay.
And so I kind of knew my way around guitar from an early age. And
you guys were playing music in the house. We were talking about it earlier, different music.
Oh yeah, records and all the time. And it was all about music for sure. Mm-hmm. And I, he showed me some stuff, and he had this, he let me borrow his Stratocaster.
That's cool.
And a Fender amp. And when I was young, and I tried to play in bands, for a minute. And for one, I wasn't super motivated. I mean, all I wanted to do was get fucked up.
Yeah.
That was from the age of 12 to when I cleaned up. That's really the only thing that
But you enjoyed playing the guitar at a young age, though?
I liked it.
Yeah. But you weren't thinking like a career and play music or anything like that?
No, and like how I just said I didn't go to shows or anything?
Yeah.
For like, 80, 83, 84, 85, like, something around there. I just was never even going up to Hollywood or anywhere. For once in a while I'd show up at like Fenders in Long Beach or something, but I'd go there because I would sell fake acid to the kids out front of the venue. And make money, like
that's crazy.
Shit like that or whatever.
Just hustling.
Yeah, just not even hustling, more like just groveling. Well, that's a good hustle, but like I was also not afraid to stand out in front of I'd go to the Olympic sometimes and stand right where at the ticket booth, and I think the tickets they were cheap, like it was like $7.50 or something to get in to see like Discharge and the Cro-Mags and all these bands, whoever was on the bill. What I remember is that it was always 50 cents change, right? And so I had this army jacket with all the pockets, and I'd post up right next to where these kids were coming up and buying their ticket to get into the show, and I'd be like, "Let me get your change. And I would just,
stack up a coin.
Yeah, I would have, $40, $50, $60, by the end of the night. And then one night, like my buddy Milo, he goes, give me some of that money, man. I'm like, no, fuck you. Charging off across the parking lot, and I tripped and I fell, and all these quarters went all over the place, and all these fucking punk kids started diving on my money.
Oh man. That's amazing.
Yeah, not much of a hustle, but hey, whatever, do what you got to do, right? And
but what was your first job? Official job?
My first official job was painting houses.
Okay. And you were doing that in your teens too?
Yeah. Actually, the guy that lived across this, we lived in a little apartment building, and right across the walkway in the next apartment building, right 10 feet out our front door, my neighbor Paul was a painting painter.
Okay.
And he hired me. He hired me one year in the summer to, he as his helper.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a very good job. I was just such a blowout case. I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't keep a band. I couldn't do it. I really.
Did you have girlfriends young age too?
I had some girlfriends, and you know what? I would dump them all the time.
Okay.
It's so weird. I'm learning about that in therapy right now.
Okay.
Like, clearly I had some issues with my self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right. And I had some really nice girls that I went out with for a short period of time and that liked me. Yeah. But the thing is, like, as soon as I realized they actually liked me, I think that what happened is I thought, subconsciously, I must have thought like, well, there's something wrong with them. If they see anything in me.
Wow, man.
And I would just push them out, like, just for no reason. It would just be over. Damn. And I wanted to play music, Toby. I mean, music has always been the most important thing to me. Yeah. I love it to this day, and I always have. It moves me like nothing else does, and that's how I've really, like all of us. Mm-hmm. It's how I've connected to reality. Yeah, was through songs, through lyrics, through all of it, and
going to shows that community too.
Yeah, through our community and just all of it. And there's this band from my town that was around kind of for a long time, with a lot of different incarnations over the years. It was called Chronic Disorder, and it was actually initially started by this dude Chalmer Lumry, who was the bass player for the Vandals and this band called The Hated. Okay. By the time I was asked to join Chronic Disorder, it was a few years down the line, and I don't think there was even Kurt, the other guitar player, Kurt Smith is his name, who taught me a lot about guitar, actually, about playing like some solo like leads, and he showed me like the Chuck Berry riffs and shit like that. I think he was in the original Chronic Disorder. But in any case, they were a band that was like a real band almost. Like, they played parties and shit like that, and they'd play like warehouses and things like this, and sometimes a gig, right? Yeah. And they asked me to play in the band. And I still had my dad's Strat, and I still had that Fender amp. That went away eventually, unfortunately. But I'm like, yeah, like, this is fucking rad. To me, they were like practically rock stars.
How old are you then?
I would have been like 17 years old, maybe, because I was already like starting to get loaded and stuff. Yeah. But so I remember going over to Kurt's apartment. He showed me the songs, like a short little set, 9 songs or something. Yeah. We went over them a bunch. I learned them, and then we had a practice over at the singer Tony's garage. He lived in his mom's garage. Okay. Punk rock garage.
Totally.
And we had a band practice, and I smoked some Sherm before I
got there.
So I was so high on that super cool that we used to smoke all the time, and it's like dust kind of, but it's not. I was going to ask you Sherm for the listeners. Yeah. It's not actually PCP, but it's like super, like, it's like the cheap version of it, At least I think so. I don't. Okay. It's just concocted in some bathroom with a bunch of formaldehyde, basically. Crazy. Some shit, But so I just remember just like being so high on that shit, because that shit gets you really high. Like, you're out to lunch, man, on that. And practicing in Tony's garage, and then we were supposed to play this club in Hollywood called the Cathay de Grande. I don't know whose bill it was or who was the headliner. I don't know anything about it. All I know was I never made it. Damn. And then there was I had a couple other chances to play some a party maybe or something, and I couldn't even show up. Wow. For the thing I wanted to do the most, which was be a guitar player in a band. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, and the singer Tony actually went on to form this band called the Brian Jonestown Massacre.
I might have heard that, actually. Yeah.
He moved up to San Francisco and started that band. They've done really well. Like, they tour all over the world.
Still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was a turning point for you, like, to get sober at 19?
The life was a drag. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? And I mean, even though I was like, I grew up going in and out of juvenile hall a lot. And after I turned 18, I started going in and out of the Orange County jail.
Okay.
Never, always for petty bullshit,
Yeah.
And even though like those were my experiences, like that was never like, I'm not a criminal. I'm not dangerous.
Yeah.
I've never been dangerous to anybody other than myself.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to, I mean, believe me, even though I was a troubled kid, I didn't want to be a troubled kid. Like, I don't know why I had to break windows all the time and shoplift from stores all the time, or steal things from other kids' houses that I went to, and just, you know what I mean? Like, or steal bicycles from other kids because I didn't
have one.
Well, I had one, but it was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to fucking give me the red line, man.
You had crazy anger issues, probably.
What's that?
Anger issues.
I think I did. Yeah. I would do some really, and I was always vandalizing shit too. I was just that kid that would throw rocks at cars.
Were you trying to get your parents' attention? You think maybe?
I don't think so. I think I was trying my best to just avoid them as much as possible. But because I was afraid. I was afraid of my dad.
Okay.
And he could be a pretty angry dude.
Okay.
And so I was just, I was trying not to be around them at all. But it got to this point where even after a few short years where like all my friends were starting to go to prison.
Yeah, it's scary.
Right? Like,
or die, maybe, yeah.
My homies, they weren't dying yet,
okay,
but they were definitely getting prison terms and shit. And like, I'm like, I don't want to go to prison. And
that's scary.
Yeah, I knew even then, like, I'm intuitive, man. I'm like, that ain't me, man. And I had the experiences already.
For sure.
And every time I was in like the hall or jail, there was always these kind of the same dudes. I won't say their names, but these same dudes that I knew from like punk rock.
Okay.
Right? And from the streets.
Yeah.
That would be in whatever mod or unit I was in. So like I was kind of automatically like in the car, right?
Yeah.
But because I wasn't going to be there for longer than 45 days or whatever, it didn't mean anything. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I never had to prove myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Or get fucked with, really, right?
Yeah. And I was, exactly. And so
still scary though, man.
Yeah, weirdly, I was never really
scared.
Nah.
Wow.
I didn't like being locked up.
I think going to prison would be scary.
I think so. I think, but even when I was 14 and that judge, man, when he said, I'm making you a ward of the state and you have you're going to do, I'm giving you, sentence you to a year and a day. Right.
You weren't even stressed.
I don't remember being that stressed about it, but I did when I got into that youth camp though. I had never been anywhere like that. And because I was an only kid and didn't really have any friends growing up, like I kind of didn't know how to act. And so I got fucked with a little bit at first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you scared being there at all?
No, but that's why I kind of shot my mouth off a couple times, and I learned quick.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to kick it with the fellas yet at all, and I kind of figured it out, and I was a small dude. I was a little 14-year-old, little tiny tyke, right?
Yeah.
And
were your parents tripping on you, like going to jail and stuff like that, getting locked up?
They must not have liked it. I don't think,
No.
But
or worried about you and stuff. Yeah. Of course.
For sure.
Wow. So 1 year in there.
Yeah, 1 year in there.
Did that change you going there, you think?
I thought it did. Like when I finally got, when I got out, I went to live with my dad in Anaheim, and I just was like, I was like, I'm going to do good. You know what I mean? I'm going to get my shit together. I'm going to start getting good grades. I never got good grades. Never. Okay. Like, I don't know how I skated through school. A D and F student.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I'm going to do good. I'm going to change my ways. And it didn't last.
No.
Not at all. I started smoking weed right away and shit and running around with the same kids. And I was already into punk and shit. So I was like, I just wanted to be a punk rocker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
I didn't have any friends before punk. I was like that loser dude that was like always in trouble, kind of, a total misfit.
Yes.
With no friends. Right? And then
punk rock.
And all of a sudden it's like, practically overnight, I have this family.
Whole new family. I was gonna say that.
You know what I mean? And it was awesome.
Saved your life, probably.
It really did. I trip on it to this day. I trip out on how, like, you know, I went to O's Memorial Sunday and saw so many old friends, and I just look around at this community that still exists.
Yeah.
That still, here we are in our 50s and our 60s.
Still playing music, man. It's crazy.
We're playing music, and these people, you know, we all still connect through our bands or through going to shows or through recovery or all kinds of things, right? Through the things that you know, you and Moon are going to that event tonight, like, you know what I mean? Like through you know, what am I trying to say? Like through causes,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, everything, community stuff.
And it's just
beyond just the punk scene in real life,
for sure. And it's amazing, man. Like it's an anomaly, because most people go through life knowing like 4 people or something, and they don't leave their hometown.
It's true.
And they have their immediate family, and that's it, and maybe 1 or 2 friends past that from work or something.
Yeah.
And I'm down there in San Diego Sunday. There's 1,800, I think it was sold out, the sound, this venue down there, 1,800 people to remember
It's beautiful.
It was fucking awesome.
Bands are playing,
Yeah, T.S. Sewell played, John Doe and Exene played some songs. They did some Knitters tunes. You know,
it's a whole community. It's
it was amazing. And I must have cried 5 times.
Yeah.
You know, just lost my shit throughout the day.
This extended family, it's not your blood, but it's your family. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing about punk rock.
Yeah.
So when you go cold turkey when you're 19? Cold turkey.
Well, no, I mean I've gone, I mean, essentially I guess I did, because I never, hey, what's happening? Good to see you.
But 19, that's just it. You're like, done. I'm done with this shit.
Yeah, it took a minute.
Yeah.
It took a minute. I started coming around this place and going to this, you know, the meetings and shit, and
the meetings, yeah.
And
were you scared to be sober?
I don't think so. I think I wanted it, but but the thing is I was still like in the grips of it, though. Like I was just like in the grips of like this obsession to just, like, I was so uncomfortable not being high.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd come around and
in your own skin.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I'd put together some days or some weeks, but I would be like, the whole time I'd just be struggling. And then I'd just give in, and I'd just bail and start getting loaded again. And sometimes that would last a month, or sometimes it would last 2 days.
Okay.
And I'd come back around and, you know, try again. But within probably 6 or 7 months, I figured out what I wanted. Right. And I did everything I needed to do to make sure that I could stop living that way and stop getting loaded. And I, you know, I kind of knew once that happened, I kind of knew that I was going to be that way for the rest of my life. Yeah. Even though, you know, you don't really want to look at it that way, because that's a lot.
It is a lot.
You know, you want to maybe look at it like, I'll take it a day at a time.
Or
whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also kind of knew, like, this is it. I'm done. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
And
your life probably changed even more, like not being known as whatever, Johnny Two Bags, or whatever they called you then, about the party guy, always fucked up, or I can't count on him to be in a band or play music. He's talented, but he's wasting his talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you get in these other bands, and it's just...
Yeah. Oh, I got that potential thing since like first grade or whatever.
Okay.
Like, you know, he's got so much potential. Like I read it at a really high level for my age and everything, but I was really bad at everything else. But yeah, and it was just such a, once that change occurred within me, and I wasn't struggling anymore, it was such a relief.
Yeah.
It really was, you know. And
do you start getting serious about playing music at that point too?
Pretty soon after that, yeah. Dude, when I woke up on the morning that I had 1 year, I woke up and I was sitting on the side of my bed, and it occurred to me that today I have 1 year clean and sober, and I just started crying. It was just it was so intense, man. It was like, this is amazing.
It's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, like I was just so filled with gratitude and humility, you know, for the thing, and I feel that way to this day, you know, 36 years later. It means so much to me. And I know that all these experiences that I've had in life are only because of that,
Mm-hmm.
and that it would have been a completely different thing. I probably wouldn't be around.
Yeah, you might be
You
here.
know,
Yeah.
and if I were here, it would be a really miserable existence.
Yeah.
Because I'm the guy that's going to be pushing a shopping cart. There's nothing. I'm not going to be balling, man. I'm going to be on the streets, dirty and every day I see these people out there, and it just kills me, man. I feel I don't even want to get into that, but
so much of that now.
I
man,
just say like
in
I'll just say this, like we can take care of them, but we're not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, there's finances, there's all kinds of things out there to help people in the streets for sure, man.
Yeah.
People just ignore like they don't exist, and the humans that have like moms and dads and brothers and sisters, it's horrible, man. Yeah, it's rough, especially in LA. It's even where you live too. It's everywhere now, especially since the pandemic. It seems like it's gotten worse.
Yeah, it's so heartbreaking, man.
Damn,
it's such a bummer.
So you wake up at 20 years old, year sober?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you working at that point? Or are you playing
music?
I
was working construction.
Nice.
We were driving up to Hollywood every day, and it was me and Gabby, the singer for the Cadillac Tramps.
Rest
And
in peace.
I think Brian was working on that job, and Lumpy, our first drummer, Chris Lagerborg. You remember him?
I think so. So you're in Cadillac Tramps at that point?
We were just starting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be like your first official band.
Yeah. Mike was up there painting with us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And
is he much older than you?
He's 5 years older than me.
Okay.
But he was painting houses in those days.
Even Social D was playing at that point too.
Social D was playing, and he was just trying to get Prison Bound recorded. And they were doing it piecemeal. They would like go play some shows and make some money. They'd go in the studio, record it for a few days. And then go play some more shows.
You're all working together.
Yeah. I'd ride with Mike up in his Monte Carlo to Hollywood. We were working on Cherokee, just above Hollywood Boulevard, on that big apartment complex.
Yeah.
I used to think for a long time, I thought it was that famous punk rock, like way before my time, but that famous punk rock apartment where like all those, Nikki Beat maybe and Pleasant and all those original. Punks.
They lived over that way?
Yeah, Black Randy and all the, like there was this, I forget what it's called, but this apartment complex that they all lived in, like one of those old 1920s.
Oh, that's cool,
big,
man.
huge, rad place, like the ones you see in Koreatown and stuff.
Yeah.
Right, but it wasn't the same one. I think this was like a block away or whatever. But yeah, we worked on that thing for like 6-7 months. We were working for this total slumlord who would buy these places and do like just slap a Band-Aid on them, which is what our job was.
Okay.
Right. And then, rent them out.
Wow. So you're living down OC still, and then you're starting in the Tramps, and then you're sober and doing construction, and that's it. Music becomes pretty much everything at that point, right? Once you guys start playing.
Slowly. Yeah. Not at first. I mean, you realize that like, in those days, it wasn't like we were looking at a career opportunity with music. It was like nobody had a career. Like who had a career from punk rock in those days? Like maybe like a band like the Ramones or the Damned, or
it's true.
Or some of the huge bands, the Clash and stuff. But
good point.
But also punk was in a weird. It was deader than a doornail at that time. To be honest, you couldn't even get an all ages show together in Southern California.
What year was that?
It's like 87, 88.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was nothing going on. Fenders was basically done. Gang violence ruined that whole scene. And I think it was a lot of the gang violence that ruined the whole thing everywhere. San Diego, Orange County, Long Beach, Hollywood, LA.
It was crazy out there with that. I mean,
it was just too much. And so promoters weren't going to try to do all ages shows because it was too risky. And you get all these, heads showing up that just wanted to, like the videos we were watching earlier, they just wanted to just.
It was like the Suicidados, the Lads, Mickey Mouse something club. Maybe there's a bunch of different crews. I heard reading about that stuff.
Yeah.
And different gangs at the shows, and
yeah,
it was real out here with that.
And then music was changing. Like what was going on like then? It was like the Chili Peppers were starting to do really well.
Oh yeah.
Guns N' Roses put out Appetite for Destruction that year.
Yep. Game changer to the world for sure.
Yeah, and then so basically,
and to glam rock kind of too.
So basically in LA you had bands that were trying to be the Chili Peppers or bands that were trying to be Guns N' Roses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And bands like Social D or the Cadillac Tramps or like we didn't have anything to connect to. That was the thing with the Tramps. We never felt like we had anything to we didn't have it was, let me put it this way. It couldn't be further from the experience of all those bands that Fat Mike signed.
Yeah.
They all like kind of sounded the same.
True.
And toured together.
You're in your own lane.
Yeah. It was just this monopoly of like, you put this band together, you formulate this sound that's kind of already prefabricated.
Yeah.
And then you like, get on these tours and you're like selling out like 1,200 seat places like overnight.
True.
And selling a shit ton of shirts and everything. But like for us, it was like we were just kind of on our own, and we'd play all these random.
A lot of local shows, right?
Yeah, we played locally for 3 years before we ever started trying to get out of town and recorded a record. We recorded a single for Triple X Records.
Okay.
A little 3-song 7-inch, and then we got signed to a indie called Dr. Dream Records.
Yep.
And for 3-record deal, and then we started touring. And at the time, I remember that me and our drummer Jamie Riedling were working at this it was a what do you call it, architectural firm or whatever in Irvine. I was a driver. I'm not an architect.
You were driving?
I was delivering blueprints.
Okay.
Right. And Jamie worked in one of the one of the buildings. He was like, he would copy the blue. He was in charge of this big copy machine thing. And we were both in the Tramps. And I would just like, my days were like, I'd show up at work because my routing took me all over Orange County, the Inland Empire, down to San Diego, Long Beach, and sometimes up to LA.
Yeah.
All over the place. And I figured out, I made my own little routing of every single little record store, every single little boutique, or any place that I could promote our band with flyers or with merchandise.
Cool.
Or, selling them our 7-inches, whatever.
Yeah.
So I would be out delivering blueprints all over the place, and I'm over here. I'd drive to Riverside, and I'd go to the couple record stores out there.
That's cool.
Real quick, as fast as I could, because I'm supposed to be, on, and we had CBs, and the dispatch at the place would be like, Johnny, what's your 20? What the hell are you doing? You got to be
DIY.
Yeah, and I did that every day. I'd get to work. And my friend picked me up for work, and we'd drive in his car, and we'd pull into the parking lot at the place, and I would just I'd have a box full of flyers or whatever, and I'd sneak them into my work truck real quick.
Damn. It's fucking funny. You never got caught doing it?
I think they knew what I was doing, but they were cool. They didn't give a shit.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it was rad. And so, we really built up a following around Southern California over that 3 years. We went from playing in front of 20 of our friends at Night Moves in Huntington Beach to like selling out Night Moves and selling out places like Bogart's in Long Beach and, venues like that. And it was kind of all bars. Okay. That was the frustrating part. It was like all bars. But Bogart's was this awesome place in Long Beach that was around for several years. And it was the promoter was this guy Steve Zapata, and he was awesome. He put out like the first Plugs.
Okay.
Charlie Quintana's old band and 7-inch, and he was just around super early, putting out indie records and shit. And he was the promoter at Bogart's, and Bogart's was one of those venues, kind of like Tim Mays' Casbah in San Diego, where like everybody at the time that was around played these venues. Yeah. Like. Bogart's, like, Nirvana played there, Mudhoney, the Chili Peppers, Havana 3 a.m. or whatever, Paul Simonon's thing,
It's cool.
like everybody, Guns N' Roses, the bands that went on to become massive.
Everybody came through there.
They all came through there, and he was a really good dude, and he took good care of bands. And so all the bands that played his place on the regular, he like would always let you in for free.
Okay.
So, I could go down there. I was living in Long Beach at the time, and, I could go down there on a night when there was a good show, and, you'd see like Quackenbush and Randy Bradbury and all, you know what I mean? Like everybody would be hanging out, like all our friends, and it was like he was just super good to us and let us in. Like I said, he'd get us in for free and shit, and it was just awesome, man. And yeah, the Tramps got really big. I mean, locally.
Yeah.
And I remember when we did 3 sold out nights at this place. It was gnarly.
That's a big deal back then,
yeah.
right?
I remember walking up on one of those nights, like it was one of these things where we stayed away till right before we play.
Yeah, and show up, yeah.
And I'm cruising up, and I'm with my friend Dana, who is kind of like, he's a little bit of an obnoxious. He's great, but he's my friends are all obnoxious, and there's these 3 bouncers at the bottom of the ramp, way away from the front door of the venue, trying to tell people not to even bother because it's sold out.
Yeah.
So we're cruising up, and they're like, nope, can't come in, it's sold out. And Dana's like, well, he's in the band. And I'm like, shut up, man. and the guy goes, look, it ain't like it's the goddamn Forum.
Oh, shit. Well, what's capacity there?
What did Bogart's hold? Like 400 or 500 people, maybe?
Sick, that's great.
Yeah, it wasn't huge, but it was one of those size places.
Did you guys play New York too, Cadillac Tramps?
Oh, man, we got out there. I think we got out there on our first tour, and we played this basement. We played with the Freeze.
Wow.
Our first ever show
cool.
in New York was in some basement place. I can't remember what it was called. And the Freeze was on the bill.
That's cool.
No one was at the gig.
Damn.
No one.
That sucks.
I mean, this is like 80. Well, in 87, you guys would have had your thing. It would have been.
Seabus was popping.
It was, right? So why wouldn't the Freeze have been like
I don't know.
Filling that out?
They're from Boston.
Is that why? Because they were from Boston?
Maybe. I don't want to say it, but they're not from New York.
I remember them. I had their 7-inch. It was like the one with the skulls all piled up on the front.
Pretty sure they're from New England or something. Yeah.
So
who knows why? Maybe it was another show that day. I don't know. That's crazy.
There was nobody there. And then every time we played Manhattan or wherever, because where did we play? We played Wetlands.
Great.
You came out to see Youth Brigade at Wetlands one time. I remember that.
Love the Wetlands, dude. Yeah.
We played Wetlands. We played
Coney Island High, maybe? I don't know.
No, this is before. I think. The Continental.
Yeah.
No, we didn't play Continental. I've been there a bunch, but no.
Definitely Wetlands was classic.
Played Wetlands. We played like 3 or 4 times out there because it's hard for a band like that to get all the way out there.
Totally.
Especially when you're strongest on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Right? But every show was a fucking bomb, dude. Like just, we're playing in front of the promoter, the sound man, and like the bartender.
Fuck.
And the other bands. Oh yeah, one time we played the Limelight. Smack dab in the middle of like a total crustcore gig. Dude, and the Cadillac Tramps.
Wow.
I mean, Gabby, right? He had nothing but fun with it.
Of course, he's great fun, man.
But it was
that's amazing. What year was that?
I think
80s?
It was like Nausea headlining or something.
Yeah.
It was packed. But like,
is that 80s still?
Yeah. No, sorry. This is 90s. This is
Moon
like
worked in the 90s.
This is like 90, probably 92, maybe.
Moon might have been working there at that time. That's crazy.
I know. No, if she was, we knew Moon by then, so we would have known if she was
crazy.
there. But yeah, it was like so funny to be on that bill. There's footage of it on YouTube.
There is?
Yeah, and Gabby's just raising hell on everybody.
He was a great frontman
because he could just turn it around.
Totally. He could comedic on stage too. Like he could just
He ruled. He
great
could
with the crowd.
He could handle any situation.
Was that his first band?
First real band.
Yeah.
Just like all of us, except for Warren. Warren was in Final Conflict.
Okay.
But for the rest of us, hey Stella. But for the rest of us, it was definitely our first real band.
And then you guys, and that ended like in '95.
I think so.
Cadillac Tramps.
We finally had, right after we finally had a New York show that was, so we got on this short run with these 2 bands, Alice Donut.
I know that,
and 7 Year Bitch from Seattle. So we were opening this 3-band bill that was like a little 3-week East Coast tour.
That's cool.
And we played CB's on Halloween. And it was rafted.
Great.
And we had booked a show with the Turbo ACs.
Remember that big New York
at Brownies, like the fall, like a week, 5-6 days later.
Okay.
So me being the promo fucking god, like I found a Kinko's, I got some shit together and pasted up a quick flyer, ran them off.
It's awesome.
After the show at CB's, I stepped outside, just like I was telling you that Travis story.
Yeah, man.
I sweaty from playing. I step outside and start handing flyers out as everybody's leaving.
Next week's show,
right? Because they all saw us play, because that room was full when we played.
Yeah.
And that show at Brownie's went off.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. So finally, like after our like 4th or 5th time out there, we played a show. You know, we played in front of people. Finally, they saw us.
That's awesome.
And then we went home, and it was our first tour that we actually made money. We came home and we divided up. It was nothing. It was probably like $1,200 each, but we were all living on the super cheap.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what I mean? I was living in a walk-in closet at the time.
Dang.
But so, yeah, at Sonny's house. Well, that's a whole different thing. But anyways, we have this, this success finally on the East Coast. We finally make some money, and we come home and break up.
What's the breakup for? People just burnt?
We were burnt. It was always a struggle. Not that we were like, well, we want to get, well, actually we did. We wanted to get rich and famous. We were a band that made no bones about it. We were like, we want to be big. We want to be as huge as possible.
Let's take this $1,200 each and cash out.
Dude, right?
It's the most money we made. We tap out now.
Dude,
we made it. That's crazy.
It was amazing. I didn't want to break up. Warren didn't want to break up, but the other two guys hated each other.
Okay.
And
that sucks.
And it does suck. But the rad thing is, the end of that story is that we've all, since then, it came back together, and it was awesome, because that really is family.
100%.
And it was all fine. But
and then Youth Brigade for you.
Yeah.
Who was in that band that left that you get in there? Because I thought
nobody. They just added me.
Oh, that's sick.
It was just
the 3 brothers. That's
3 brothers
classic.
and me. Yeah, that was right after
Incredible
we split.
band, underrated band. I mean, I learned about them in the Bones Brigade videos. They were part of the soundtrack, and then also Another State of Mind. I think they're in there. And
that was their brainchild. Was that whole whole thing.
So good, man. I love the melody. I love the Sound and Fury album. Just all that stuff was, especially growing up on the East Coast and being a skater. I was just in tune with all that kind of stuff,
That was your generation, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then hearing that song, I looked at you with curiosity. That song was in the Bones Brigade.
That's right.
I think Capra, Tony Hawk was skating this bowl. So there was a soundtrack for that. And we're like, what the fuck is this? So then we find the Faction and like Big Boys and all that shit.
Big Boys were awesome, huh?
Dude, but just that era, just like punk rock and skateboarding was just hand in hand. It was a soundtrack. So like, yeah. And you probably loved Youth Brigade at that point, no?
Oh yeah, and they were, how we were good friends. I mean, obviously I knew about them from very young. Yeah. Because they were on some of the first records I got that, like, someone got their head kicked in, shit like that.
That was sick.
But
were they a pretty big band for as far as big could be at that moment?
Yeah, they played big shows. Yeah. But when the Tramps were playing still, we toured a lot with Royal Crown Review.
Love them. Great frontman as well. That band. Moonlight, all that shit. So I would go see it against my will, but then I ended up liking it. So shout out to Royal Crown Review. That guy was a great frontman.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless him. So
is he still around?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen him in years.
Okay.
Eddie's kind of a...
Were they West Coast?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Eddie was around back in the day. He's hanging around on the streets of Hollywood, punk rock.
Yeah, he was
like a skinhead guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had a cool vibe.
Not like a,
No, yeah. He had a cool vibe though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were playing with those bands too?
We played with them all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, we played. It was funny because we played with like the bands that we did form, comradeships with were like bands like that, or a band from San Diego called the Beat Farmers, who actually took us on our first tours.
Gotcha.
They showed us the ropes.
Okay.
And then the Paladins were a great 3-piece sort of rockabilly blues thing. So a lot of those, kind of roots bands or type of bands. But also then we'd also play with punk bands.
Cool.
And
all kinds of bands you guys could
grindcore bands.
Grindcore, squatter punk bands.
Squatter punk bands, yeah.
But I feel like a band like Cadillac Tramps that was their own thing, and they had melody and punk rock and everything mixed in it. I think it was probably easier for you guys to play with not just punk bands. You guys could make it work.
We seemed, dude, one time we played in
Cleveland. Because it was your own style.
It was pretty unique, right? Yeah, I think it was.
And, it was like real singing too,
Yeah, and good songwriting.
Yeah.
Like Brian, I didn't write a whole lot of Tramp songs. I didn't hit my stride as a, I don't even know if I have yet, but I definitely wasn't writing a lot in those days. Brian Coakley, the other guitar player, wrote. He was super prolific at the time. He was just knocking them out. So most of our material was written by him.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was cool, right? And dude, one time we played some crazy weird bills, man. One time because we'd go out on tour and you never knew who we were going to play with at whatever venue was, that night. There was this band. What were they called, man? They were like this 70s rock band. We played in Cleveland at that venue, the same exact room where we did Punk-A-Rama.
Okay.
At the
Agora?
But the small room in front. Remember that night we all played there?
Yeah, what is that? There's Agora Ballroom. There's also another place.
It was the Agora, but there was a smaller place. Okay. Remember that? And that's where we did Punk-A-Rama that night. Okay. And then you went out this way and that's way, and Moon was over here.
Okay. We played the big room opening for Social Distortion like in '96 though. We did.
Is that right?
And Mike Ness said, y'all remind me of like doo-wop hardcore. Because our song 5 Year Plan with the 3-part harmonies.
Oh, right.
It was tripping out. It was a really nice compliment. Anyway, go ahead.
And you guys would warm up with the harmonies. Yeah. That's right. That's
we had
so
Mackie
cool.
from the Cro-Mags and Bad Brains on drums because my drummer broke his hand before that tour. So Mackie
Todd Friend
would come out and play one song with one hand, and then Mackie played the rest of the set.
Oh, dude, Mackie.
And Mackie charged us a full guarantee for him to play with us. Love you, Mackie.
Dude.
He's a great drummer, though.
Yeah,
he would get like $100 or something. He's like, I need $100 to show. Like, all right, when I make any money, we're going to sell merch, but it's main support and Social Distortion. We got to do it.
God, I wish I could remember that rock band we played with at the Agora that night. It was so funny because their crowd.
It was random?
Yeah, they were just like, fuck, what were they called? Like Mississippi Mountain Queen or some shit.
But you had a good response.
Not really. I mean, they didn't hate us, but like it was just like these biker dudes, like old dudes, like just sitting like,
I feel like Gabby could make you laugh. Even
he would win these fuckers over. And that's how it was, Toby. You would see somebody in the crowd like super skeptical, and then finally you would see them crack.
Yeah.
And they'd like laugh at something Gabby did, and then they would lighten up a little bit, right, and start having fun. But
the showman, man, real performer.
Yeah, dude, Mackie, dude. We did 2 nights with at First Avenue with Living Color, and then like. Not the Bad Brains, but Bad Brains with
Mackie?
Well, Mackie was playing drums.
That was part of the Rise record he played on.
What was his name, though? The guy?
Israel,
yeah.
Mackie played on that record. The Rise was a big thing. I'm in the video, yeah. That's cool. You're on that run.
Dude, wow. I'd never seen Mackie play
That guy was a good singer, though. To like
he pulled it off great.
To fill HR's shoes is pretty much impossible, but he really did a great job, man.
He did.
Yeah.
And if you could kind of be like, if you went like that, you'd be like, because he had like the Dickies shirt and right.
Yeah, Mackie was sick.
But I was just so floored by Mackie, and I loved how he angled his kit.
Yeah,
like that, and they just they were great.
Yeah,
I know.
cool.
I know. HR wasn't there, but it was killer.
Yeah,
and then I remember trying to talk to
HR. Oh no,
no, trying to talk to
Daryl.
To Daryl, yeah, and he wasn't having it for some reason. I walked up after they were done, and he was over by the merch. I cruised up, I tried to strike up conversation, and he just like looked at me. He just looked at me.
Maybe had a rough day.
In a way that was kind of like I kind of slunk off.
That sucks. Sorry.
It's cool. I still love him.
Yeah, it's still great. I'm going to pause so I can go pee real quick. Want to pause for a second?
All right, cool.
So I want to tell you something.
All right.
We're back from the pee break. We were getting into Youth Brigade. Did you play on some Youth Brigade records at all?
Yeah, I played on To Sell the Truth.
Okay.
It's called.
Did they put records out since then?
Not a full length.
I don't think so either.
But they've done singles.
Yeah.
They did a cool split with, I think, the Swingin' Utters.
Oh, yeah.
And they did that song Old Man Bars, which is rad.
And then they did
one of Adam's songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then they started Punk Rock Bowling, which is a whole different world, man.
It is, yeah.
It's pretty incredible, though. I love playing that festival. So U.S. Bombs only a couple years for you, right?
Yeah, I made one record with the Bombs.
Yeah.
Toured all over.
No, I'm saying Youth Brigade.
Same with Youth Brigade. I really was only in the band for like maybe two and a half years. Long enough to make a record. But they took me everywhere. Like I had never been off the continent.
That's cool.
We went to Europe. We went to Japan. We played down in Mexico.
Was it awesome playing those songs that you already loved?
Yeah, it was so fun.
That's cool. It's like a dream.
Yeah.
And then the U.S. Bombs, which we toured together. We talked about the Punk-A-Rama tour, U.S. Bombs, Bouncing Souls, H2O, Straight Faced. I think was on that. Maybe Union 13.
Union 13 was on it, yeah.
Very crazy fight at one of the venues. Rusty almost got arrested. That was crazy. There was this crazy shows.
Dwayne started all that shit.
Yeah,
that
Rusty
night.
had his back, man. It was crazy
I finally, because me and Carrie were inside talking to these girls, and somebody finally says, something's going on outside with Dwayne. So we ran out there, and it was over already.
Yeah.
Rusty was just finishing cleaning up. Like,
dude,
like
two dudes at one time. I couldn't
conceive of it because Rusty's such a sweetheart, like the sweetest.
He is
sweetest man you could ever meet, ever. And what I saw, it just blew my mind. It was like, remember the movie The Wanderers?
Yeah.
And remember when the Ducky Boys came out to the football field? And remember the dad, the big angry dad?
That's Rusty.
And he was just like throwing those dudes around, like, yeah, two at a time.
Yeah.
That was what it reminded me
like
of.
A big lumberjack. Yeah, Rusty was like, I remember the cops were out there and people were chanting H2O, H2O. And Rusty had like two dudes down, like. It got crazy with the bouncers. Like one guy threw me across the room. Mark Holloway was our tour manager. He was there too. I guess they had thrown Dwayne down a flight of stairs. That was a crazy one, man.
That same venue, I was on tour with.
Is that Pennsylvania or something?
It was in Pennsylvania. I don't remember the town, but that venue is notorious for the bouncers.
Grog Rock or something, some name.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
Remember? And so I was on this tour with Goldfinger. I was working for the opening band, the band that was touring opening for Gold. I was working for them as a roadie. And
same place,
same exact place, and these bouncers were picking on these kids all through Goldfinger's set while they were on stage, and Feldman finally, like John Feldman, like put his guitar down and jumped over the barricade on a bouncer. Like he went for it.
That's sick.
Feldman.
It's awesome,
right? Like you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
He was pissed though, and so we all jumped in. And these dudes were huge, man. They were gnarly. This guy fucking knocked me down and put his foot on my chest, man. And that was it. I was done. I could not move. I was like trying to
crazy.
but and you know, Feldman, like
they were big dudes here.
They were big dudes, and it was over pretty quick. But like, yeah, that place was legendary at that time for their bouncers just being like a nightmare, right?
But you traveled the world with the Bombs too, right? You guys went everywhere as well.
Europe a lot.
Yeah.
I toured Europe with them like 5 times, I think.
Yeah. And you played on The World?
Yeah.
It's a great album, dude.
Thanks.
I mean, I love all their records, man. It was such a great band, such a great front man, just like
that was a good time.
Real shit. Yeah, man.
And when he was like not all fucked up, he was like great.
Yeah.
Right? He was so great when he was on point, man. And for me, like that record The World, for me, it was that's what's one of the things that's so special is that I finally was I was able to really contribute songwriting.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've contributed like half the material for that record.
Awesome.
Whereas with the Tramps and even Youth Brigade, I only got a couple songs in here and there.
Yeah.
But the writing The World was a really cool experience because it was, we rented out this place for a month in Gardena and me, Carrie, Wade, and Chip brought in his 4-track.
Yeah.
And we just basically were shedding on material for a solid month. We came up with so many songs, and we'd give cassettes to Dwayne.
Wow.
And he'd listen down to these songs, and the ones he liked, he would write lyrics to.
It's cool, man.
And it was just super awesome. It was a super fun experience.
How's Carrie doing? I haven't seen that guy in years either, man.
He's good, man. He's living. Where did he move to?
You keep in touch with the guys still, most of them?
Yeah, here and there. You know, but probably should try to keep in touch more. But you know, and Wade lives like 5 minutes away from me. There's no.
Is Wade the one from Suburbia?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Incredible life-changing punk movie as well. And when I found out he was in that, I was like, oh my, it's crazy. Like he's in this band too. He's legit from this movie. Yeah, that was a big. Were you around when they were filming that movie?
No,
do you remember that?
I remember when it came out, but I wasn't like at any of I wasn't involved in any way or anything. I wasn't connected to it's funny because in those years, like I wish I would have like not been such a druggie dude because I just feel like I could have been around doing cool shit, but I wasn't because I was like stuck in a hotel room on Harbor Boulevard, like, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever. And, but like, I think back to those days and I'm like, you know, I mean, I don't regret it too much because it worked out good and I've been super fortunate to have made music my life since then.
Totally.
But like, I could have been doing cool shit and instead I was doing something, you know, this other thing or whatever, but
it's crazy, man.
But yeah, it's okay though.
Did you ever feel like you're going to die from it? Or get scared of dying?
I don't think I was too scared of dying because of the things I was doing without even thinking about it. You know what I mean?
You were fearless.
Like I wasn't, and it wasn't because I wasn't fearless in a brave way.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually more like I was scared to death of life,
of reality and responsibility, all that stuff.
I wasn't fearless. Like,
that's a good point.
I was actually terrified. Yeah, and I was trying to run
from growing up and all that shit.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just running from everything. But I don't think I had thought about dying or like, it wasn't like something if there was enough drugs around and to put in the spoon, I would do enough to kill me if I could have at the time, but luckily for me, I was always scrounging.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. How long were you in U.S. bombs for? Was that a couple years?
Just a couple years, yeah.
And you obviously, you knew the Social Distortion guys?
Yeah.
Anyway, right?
Yeah, they were OCs, they were them and the Adolescents, were just like our heroes. And when I was a kid, and Social D was my favorite. Adolescents were my favorite too, though,
how'd that come about? How long were you out of U.S. bombs before do you audition for Social Distortion?
I didn't. So Dennis asked me to go to Europe right after Youth Brigade.
You guys are friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of right after Youth Brigade was kind of done, because you know how the Stearns are with that band. They'll do it for a few years and then they kind of just, and it was getting to that point, like what you call it, an album cycle or whatever stupid industry lingo.
Exactly.
But we had toured the record for a couple years and then it was starting to fizzle out.
Okay.
And then I got a call from Dennis one day. He's like, hey, my wife, Christy, is pregnant and she's due in whatever, blah, blah, blah month. I told management not to have us on the road during this time. But of course, we're in Europe.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to be in Europe. And so we set it up for me to fly out to Europe and Dennis to come home, so he could be there for Duke as his firstborn. I played with the band. Chuck was playing drums then.
Sick.
And I did about 3 weeks of shows maybe.
How was that? Was awesome? Were you nervous? Were you excited?
No, I wasn't nervous at all, but it was super fun.
Yeah, I'm
sure.
It
was awesome. I mean, Social D was my favorite band, Okay. It was awesome.
That's cool. Everybody was cool, and it was like
totally cool. Yeah.
Were you hoping that it could have been something permanent at that point? You just like to be out there just playing?
I mean, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Dennis though.
It's a different level of a band at that point for you too.
For sure, and
they're pretty big, yeah.
When I was a kid, Dennis and so obviously Mike is Social D is Mike Ness, and it has been for a long time, and it kind of in a way always has been since the beginning because he's the lead singer, he's the front man of the band. But when we were kids, like Dennis and Mike were kind of equally the face of the band.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a much more localized thing then, and everybody was hanging out.
Totally.
Right? But Dennis and Mike were inseparable, and they started the band, and so yeah, like when we did Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll, which came out in 2004, I'd been in the band for like 4 years already.
Yep.
And I started to do like some of the press, and the question always came up, like, well, how does it feel to be Dennis's replacement, and that's what I would talk about that. I'd say, well, you just got to understand that when I was a kid, Dennis was just as important, like this is Mike and Dennis.
He was an OG member,
it's
right?
It's like Mick and Keith, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And or whatever, so yeah, he really was, and I'm certain that too that like Dennis kept things going when things started to get sketchy with Mike.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How soon after that tour you did he pass? Was it soon after that? Or
no, it was a couple years, I think, at least. I think I went over there with them in like, when did I go over there with them? So it was before I was in the Bombs.
You joined them like in 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
So it was probably 3 years or something, I think.
And what were you doing during that time? What bands were you playing? Any music at that time?
Before
between that, the Social D and then actually getting
the Bombs.
Okay, back to the Bombs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. And did you play on When Angels Sing? Did you play on that record or no? White Lights, White Heat?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
That was the tour. That's the record they were touring on, I think, at that point.
That it was, and that's when you guys were playing with them too, probably.
Yeah.
Because Chuck was in the band.
That was a big song. I remember those songs, man.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
I love that record.
Oh my God, me too. It's
like that song, the opening cut, "Dear Lover." That's still my favorite SD song
to play,
to listen to play, and then my other favorite is an old one called "Lewd Boy."
What album is that off of?
It's on a comp called "Hell Comes to Your House."
Dang,
it's the best. It's
you play that song? They play it?
Yeah, we play it. Yeah.
When Angel sings, it's a beautiful song. I mean,
I know,
damn, dude.
I know.
I still get like emotional listening to that. I watched a video recently. I was like, it said "Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll" was the first record you played on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the Greatest Hits that came out, and then it was Hard Times and Nursery Rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
You're on that one.
Yeah.
Are you writing stuff at Social Distortion at all at that point, or giving out riffs and shit?
I was for Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
Like I was contributing a lot of stuff for then, and you know it was being well received.
That's cool.
And so I've got quite a few writing credits on that album. Less on the next one.
Off the next. On the Hard Times one.
Yeah.
But then you did your own stuff too. You did your own like solo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
2000. When did that?
Hope Dies Hard. That was 2012.
That's right, the 7-inch. Yeah.
Yeah. And that what inspired that? Just was Socially on a hiatus or something, or no?
No. And I didn't
just
make
be
that
more creative and stuff.
It was something I wanted to do since always. And I've like we were talking about earlier, like even through punk rock and everything, I always liked what I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always liked that
other
kind
influences.
of
Yeah.
And I always, liked like what you would term Americana music, I guess, for lack of a better
just other stuff you grew up on.
Yeah, and so, kind of country rock type stuff and rock and roll and songwriting and Elvis Costello and
awesome.
And even bands like and stuff like that my dad listened
Springsteen
to, like
too?
No, I didn't get into Springsteen. You know what? To be honest, like Springsteen, I didn't get into Springsteen until like it kind of came around in this more recent years.
Did he perform with the Social D too? Come out?
Yeah, he has twice with us.
Wow.
Yeah,
man, that's crazy too. Yeah.
But I mean, you don't always get it. You know what I mean? When you're young, and so. For my generation, when Springsteen really hit with Born in the USA and all that shit, I didn't.
No connection to it.
None at all. And I didn't look into it either. I didn't even try to listen to it.
What the lyrics were about. Either.
Yeah. So I just kind of dissed it, man. And
then, I would say so too.
And then, you know what? Like,
it was songwriter.
It came, but eventually within our world, in our scene, somehow Bruce came full circle, and he kind of infiltrated our world, didn't he? Right? And little by little, he started getting through cracks. Jesse Malin and Brian Fallon. He sang on Mike's solo records.
That's right.
And
he's a fan of Social D, right?
Yeah, he likes Social D a lot, and you know what I'm saying. So like,
that's pretty crazy.
I started,
two worlds collide
at some point. I mean, it's been years already, but like 15 years ago maybe or something, I started like checking out Springsteen, and I was like, what's going on? And it's obviously fucking killer. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's crazy how those worlds even connected like that. It's insane. You would never think.
I've been listening to his book.
He's got a new book or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's super new. I think it's maybe 5 or 6 years old or something, but I mostly will read a book, but like I like to listen to the audiobooks when it's the person who wrote its when they like Steve Jones's book or shit like that.
That's cool.
And Springsteen's actually reading his book.
That's awesome.
So it's kind of cool to hear it that way. It's
an autobiography or something that came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he dug the punk rock stuff. That's the funny thing is, like, we thought, like, back in those days when I was a kid, like, we thought that all those rock and roll older dinosaurs
knew nothing about what we were doing or where we were going, right?
Like, we just assumed that they hated it. Yeah. They hated it because everywhere and everyone in our world didn't get it. My parents did. Yeah. Dude, my parents were hippies and my dad was a musician.
Yeah.
And he hated punk, dude.
Okay.
He did not understand it, didn't try, didn't care about it. I don't know why he hated it so much, because he probably thought it wasn't real music, or he probably saw how much trouble I was always in and maybe thought that was partially to blame for it or whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then, like, also, despite the fact that I always liked the rock and roll music that I grew up on before punk rock, the rockers were our enemies.
Yeah.
You know, the Heschers.
Yeah.
The hippies. Like they were the hippies, and then they were the jocks. They were the cops.
Yeah.
You know, and they were
civilians.
They were the parents.
Yeah.
And everybody just was against it. Like nobody understood.
Fuck everybody but us. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't get it, and I mean, probably for pretty good reason, especially like Southern California and maybe where you're from too. It was people were insane.
Yeah.
Asking for trouble. Have you ever heard somebody? I know you have, but like these punk rockers that'll be like, why in the hell is everybody always messing with us, man? Why are the cops messing with me? And why is everybody picking on the punks?
Yeah.
And I hear people say that. I'm like, because you're fucking asking for it. Why do you think? That's the whole whole thing is about attracting that kind of attention, and you're wondering why the cops are fucking with you. Because after you just threw a bottle at a cop car or whatever.
Because we're the misfits of society. So we're going against everything.
Yeah,
but totally. It's interesting about Bruce Springsteen. You never think that because, he doesn't have a mohawk. He doesn't wear a leather jacket. He doesn't dress like us or sound like us. Doesn't mean he doesn't understand us. You know what I mean? He had that mentality of like, he had to look a certain way to be punk. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, Jimmy Page is my favorite guitar player of all time, right? He was my first guitar hero when I was little.
Yeah.
And he's still, to this day, I love it. And I found this article on the internet a few years ago, and it was an interview, and it was probably from like 1977 or something, like right around probably when this record, Led Zeppelin record called In Through the Outdoor came out. So it was later in their career for sure, right? And the interviewer asked Jimmy, he said, he asks him, so how do you feel about this, this emerging punk rock music thing that's happening? Like, what do you think about it? Like, are you intimidated by it? By the new thing, right?
Yeah.
And his answer was something along the lines of, well, I'm not really intimidated. No, he says, well, considering that we're still selling out like enormodomes around the planet, I'm not really too intimidated by it.
Yeah, that's funny.
But then he goes, but I love it. He goes,
cool.
I fucking love Nevermind the Bullocks. I think it's fantastic. And he goes, I love this band called The Damned.
Wow, that's
and he's
cool.
talking about, this is in the 70s. He's like,
cool.
I took Robert, Robert Plant, I took Robert down to see The Damned, and maybe it wasn't for Robert so much, but I love it,
That's cool, man.
Yeah, and like, another guy who, if you look for it, right, that like loved what was happening was like Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I read an interview with him where he was saying all that stuff we were doing in the 80s, it wasn't, the early 80s, it wasn't like we were trying to become a punk band, but we were influenced by it in a way that sort of changed our sound.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? Because he dug it.
I would never think of that as
and there's a lot of musicians that you would think would have just automatically hated everything that was coming from the punk scene. A lot of them really liked it, you know, and then there's also, you can find this all over the place. If Johnny Ramone interviews where he's asked how how did you formulate that style that is the Ramones, which is those downstrokes that and he says from Communication Breakdown, Led Zeppelin.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right? And I love that one. I love to throw that one at the punkers that are all like, I fucking hate Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You might not have had the Ramones if it wasn't for Led Zeppelin.
That is crazy, man. It is crazy how both those worlds inspire each other, but like secretly too, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you consider yourself a full-time musician once you got in Social D? Like, no more regular jobs? This has been...
Yeah, because I always had to hustle something in between tours from the Tramps days all the way through all
US
the
bombs,
all the
like
bands.
Come home, you working somewhere.
Yeah,
random jobs.
Yeah, like in the early days, it would be like I'd come home from a Tramps tour and I'd call all my contractor buddies and say, like, hey,
because you have a skill.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I can paint. I can paint a little bit, and
You're handy.
Yeah, I'm not good though.
Okay.
Believe me, because I no one wanted to pay me more than $7 an hour because I wasn't worth more than that. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't interested in it. Like but
you can build shit, construction.
I could do it. I could be a laborer. And I was probably best at painting houses. But then eventually, like later on, I was living in LA. I was up here for 25 years.
Yep.
And I started working for Golden Voice. Stuart got me.
Shout out to Stuart.
Yeah, Stuart got me in the car with Golden Voice.
Rest in peace.
Yep. And that was interesting because it was pretty humbling
Yeah, I did this. Yeah,
I don't feel like, you know what? I don't feel like I'm not a big ego guy.
Same.
I don't run around and act like I'm anything.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I think I'm anything. You know, I'm just a person. You know, but it was still humbling when I had to work as a stagehand, especially on shows that were headlined. Big shows that were headlined by bands that had opened for my band in the past. It was really hard for me to handle. You know what I mean?
Carrying their gear, loading up. Yeah. How long did you do that for?
Not super long, maybe like 4 years or something.
I did it too. I did it when my son was born, and both my bands were on hiatus. I got a job at Golden Voice working at the Henry Fonda Theater.
Okay, I'm going to say it. I saw you there one night. I forget who. It might have been a Pennywise show or something. And I saw you down by Wiley's office, right? And you were, I could tell, like you were working,
Shit was
when
brutal.
you've been, it's a 12-hour, sometimes an 18-hour day from load in to load out, right?
Yes, sir.
And I go, Toby's working. And I said, hey, what's up? And you kind of were like, hey, just exactly like
you caught me here.
Just exactly like, not that there's anything wrong with it either. You know what I mean?
Coming,
man. I mean, how many of our best friends have been doing production work for their whole lives? There's nothing wrong with it.
When you're behind the scenes doing all this shit you never had to fucking do, like grimy shit.
Oh, dude, for sure. So it immediately occurred to me, dude, what you just said behind the scenes and never remember Punker Pete?
What is that?
Pete, remember Pete Neandra?
Maybe.
He worked for Golden Voice back in the days.
Okay.
I know you know this dude.
Okay.
He's kind of been gone for a while, but
okay.
I was doing a No Effects show at the Palladium one afternoon for the loading in, and Pete.
What band were you in? Were you working for Golden Voice? What band were you in at that moment?
Well, before I was in the Bombs. So for a couple of years I wasn't in a band. I was just working all the time.
Okay.
So we're at the Palladium and we're loading in a No Effects show.
It's very humbling when you even are humble. If you already are a humble person, somehow it's just like people asking to take photos with me when I'm loading their gear. What are you doing? I'm working.
Dude,
I have a son come. It was.
I know.
It was crazy.
I had people yelling from the crowd, 2 bags, what are you doing?
At the same time, it's kind of dope. It's like, fuck that. I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm not too cool to work and make money for my family, whatever I have to do to survive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not like trying to get free shit. I don't know.
So Pete, so we're at the Palladium, it's load in, and we're building the PA system and shit. It's probably like industrial sound or rat sound or something. And Pete's walking through the venue with these lawyers because he had a case going because his back went out on the job. So he had these like workers' comp guys with him, and he's walking through, and he's basically showing these dudes like, here's what we do, because he's trying to get paid for being injured. And he sees me up on stage, pushing cases, and he goes, hey, 2 bags. I bet you thought all this shit just magically showed up.
That's so true.
Dude, it was funny.
We just walk on stage and everything's perfect.
But like how I saw you that night at the Pond down there, for some reason, I've never forgot that because I completely connected with you.
I was probably like just miserable, man.
And one time I was at the Palace working some show, and Adrian Young showed up.
Damn.
And he goes, what's up, John? He was all happy to see me. And I'm like sitting on a case, smoking a cigarette, like dirty, been there since the morning, And I just was like, I was exactly like how you were to me. I just was like, oh yeah, what's up, Adrian?
Yeah. I'm not really trying to talk right now. I'm just like, fucking. And I was working with some wild kind of people too. Just people I really would hang out in real life. Do you know what I'm saying? These worker dudes. I remember going to work at Coachella for like 2 weeks, setting up all the stages. I was too tired to even watch Coldplay, my favorite band, with my friend Lawrence. Shout out to Lawrence. We did it together. We shared a room, but like for like 10, 11 days in the sun, building stages all day. It was brutal. Got paid really well though.
Yeah.
But it was fucking brutal. I was like, and then like my band was about to make our first record in 8 years, which became our biggest record. And like all of a sudden, like we're going to make a record. Then after that, I've just been the band and everything else since then. Like it just like, and I did that, and it was very humbling. It wasn't like I wasn't humble. I think I'm a very humble person, but just doing that, I started hiring my friends. I hired Danny Boy, Ezak, a bunch of my friends to come work for me there.
Yeah. Danny Boy was out there working?
Yeah, man. I got him out there. Brian Dale was like our dude.
Yeah.
Natalie was like our boss.
Yep.
Wiley.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was a time, man.
Dude, and you know what?
It felt like a year, but it wasn't even a year. It just felt...
In hindsight, they were fucking great times. That Warped Tour I worked that you guys were on in 98. Me and Stuart ran the main stage, didn't we?
That's right.
Remember that? So the funny thing is this is how interesting life can be, dude. So I got a call one day to go out with Save Ferris.
Yep.
And I needed to work, and I said, okay, cool. Yeah. So do you know Smitty?
The name,
Long Beach Smitty and I went with Save Ferris. It was a small crew. Yeah. It was like they had a tour manager who mixed front of house, and then they had me on stage, and I did the bass player and the guitar player. The drummer did his own drums, and Smitty I think did monitors. Okay. And also I would have to walk Monique on stage, take her coat, right, and hand her microphone. Yeah. And that was the hardest part for me because I was like I said earlier, I said, okay, fucking what? Now I'm a butler. Cool, right? I ended up having a blast on that tour, and something happened to where I came to this place where I just fully accepted the reality of my life, and I was completely cool with it. I was like, you know what? I would rather be playing guitar instead and not tuning them for someone else to play. Yeah. But this is a lot better than
digging ditches at 5 a.m, whatever you could be
exactly.
Doing. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And I just was like, fuck it. This is fine. You know, the money's pretty good. I'm paying the bills, and I'm around people that I like, most importantly. Yeah. I'm around people, weirdos like me, you know?
Totally.
Like
community, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was completely cool with it. And that was for real. It wasn't pretending. Yeah. I wasn't trying to just survive by telling myself that. It was you know what I mean? It was a complete surrender. And so I got home from that tour, and I'm sitting on my couch in the living room of my apartment in Silver Lake. My suitcase is still by the front door, unopened. 20 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's Kerry Martinez from the Bombs.
That was, yeah.
And he says, what's going on? He says, hey, what are you doing? I said, I just got back from working on this tour. He says, well, Chuck just quit the band in the middle of this tour we're doing with AF. And, what are you doing? And I said, and Warbirth had come out that year, and I dug that record. Yeah, man. Like I was so into that record, I played it, I wore it out. I really liked it, right? And I go, so obviously I was interested in it. And my question was, well, how's DP? Yeah. And Kerry goes, well, he's doing all right. He's on the wagon for a couple of weeks or whatever. And I said, all right, well, that's, we'll see how that goes. Yeah. But I'm in.
And that was it.
And I lived by Epitaph at the time, and they were on Hellcat. And so we met at the label, and I threw my shit in the trailer, and we took off for Albuquerque.
That was it.
Yeah. And I played with them for the next, couple of years, and went all over the place and recorded that record. But point being that, I let it all go. Yeah. And 20 minutes later, I'm in a band.
That's crazy.
Right?
And now you've been in Social D since 2000. So that's been your full-time everything?
It has.
Full-time musician.
You know what? I kept taking gigs.
Pretty amazing, man.
At first, just because I wasn't sure. Yeah. Like, who knows, right? So I'm still taking gigs, working as a stagehand.
As you're in Social Distortion.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then one night, like me and Westy and Sean Wheeler and a bunch of dudes were working on something way down in Orange County. We used to work for this guy that would do these like 4 gigs, these corporate gigs. Okay. He'd do like 4 a year, and the money was killer. Yeah. At the hotels down there, at Dana Point and shit. Yeah. And I almost smashed my hands on between a couple of cases that were moving fast. Yeah. Right? And I was like, I'm not doing this after this.
That's it.
I just have to make sure that like, I don't need to be breaking my hands right now.
And that was it for you. That was it.
Yeah. Damn. Well, you know what I did during the pandemic?
What'd you do?
I started painting houses a little bit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But only for like 3 days.
Okay.
For my friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Jamie, our old drummer.
Uh-huh. Working with him?
Yeah. He got me on the crew with him and a couple other dudes, and I showed up on the job. I hadn't painted houses in 25 years or something.
Whoa.
And I was so slow. Right? So they didn't keep me.
Oh, really? Is it?
No.
Damn, at least you tried, though.
Yeah.
But that's it, though. He's been Social D. That's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah.
Will there be a new Social D record come? I knew you guys have new songs. Also, Mike's going through some stuff, but I saw you guys play recently, and he played like 1 or 2 new songs. It sounded awesome.
Right on.
Yeah. So there's a record that's recorded.
Mostly.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got to be finished up, but,
When was that recorded? How long ago?
Right before Mike,
Okay,
got his stuff happening.
And this, how many records has that been? You've been on that at this point? Just a new one.
It would be so far. It's just Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll.
That's crazy. In that long of time. That's such a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in between.
I do that.
Records.
We do that too because
yeah.
I feel like we're together 30 years next year. We only have like 7 albums or 6 albums in 30 years. I'm like, what lazy, man. Like, well, the gaps are like 8-year gaps in between albums.
It's just, some people's lives just go in different ways, and Mike somehow, that's when he wants to do records, I suppose.
I respect it. Because some bands like force records for the cycle. Okay, toured on a year and a half. Okay, we're going to make a new record, make new merch, promote that. Next one, cycle, new record. Like pushing things out like a machine. I never did that with my band. I want to be inspired and like want to make a record. You know what I'm saying?
You're not incorrect in that. I think that there's bands, I'm not going to say who.
Yeah,
but there's artists of mine that are favorites of mine.
Yeah.
That have
too many records.
That have 25 records or something.
Can't do it.
It's too much,
Same. And it's a lot of the same too. And it's like I respect
this
the hustle.
This one guy, he's an all-time favorite songwriter of mine.
Yeah.
An English guy.
Okay.
And he's got so many records. It's like I can't
listen to him.
I haven't paid attention since probably like 2003.
Yeah. At the same time, I respect them, the hustle and the musician, they want to tour. This is their live, you know what I mean? Their lives. They have to like keep like putting these records out, but we've never been a band like that. So now I do get it. Wow, it's only been a couple records for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Crazy life, man.
It's been pretty cool. Really,
yeah, but it's crazy. 36 years sober, man. It's amazing, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's the foundation of it all.
Yeah. It's life-changing. I knew nothing. I love this because I know you for so many years. I don't even know when I met you, but like just hearing your story and all the shit you've been through. I know you were sober, but I know like how early that started for you. You know what I mean? All the shit you went through. It's amazing. You're here and live. We're talking,
Yeah.
It's pretty wild,
It's
man.
a trip to be at this stage in life, man. It's like, it's been hard lately, Like I said, we were talking about therapy and shit earlier, and it's like going through a lot, with this gabapentin thing, and it really kind of, I mean, the upside to this fucking shitty experience is that it's opened my eyes to a lot, right? And I've kind of been able to take a look at life in a different way, and understand some things that I didn't. Not only that it wasn't that I didn't understand. It was more like this shit wasn't even in my.
What's on your radar?
At all.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of looking at all this stuff.
Your mind's open to like all. Yeah.
And then just where we're at, it's like, I almost feel like I've been going through a sort of a midlife crisis, which like I never thought I would have a midlife crisis in the classic sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to go buy a fucking sports car and flip my fucking collar up.
Yeah.
And put some fucking aviator shades on and go try to find a 22-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, that's not going to happen because I've been young my whole life.
Yeah.
Like my theory was always like, you don't have a midlife crisis when you connect your youth to like being old and there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's kind of like
we have such young spirits, so because we do what we love, we play music. We're kind of like big kids, like in the sense we have responsibilities, but when you're in a band, it's like we don't have to grow up so much. I don't know, because when you go on tour, there's like no responsibility, just playing music every night.
It's full on Peter Pan.
It's so crazy. Then you get back to reality, which is like separating the both is like, because touring's fantasy, dude. It really is. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
But we are like big kids in the sense where we get to do what we love. We have no boss. We can be tatted up. We can have our own hours. We can all this shit where it's like not really normal society shit. Even if we do pay our mortgage on time, we pay insurance. You know what I'm saying? Like we pay responsible things, but we're still really not part of society in a sense. I don't know.
There's no doubt about it. I mean? Yeah. And our whole everything we're about is part of a culture it's a youth culture.
Yes.
And somehow. And it works because I think it's because so many of us have sort of stuck to it without even trying.
Yeah.
Because there's really no alternative, right?
Yeah.
And so, like in the old days, like what would that be like? Maybe in the 50s, maybe before because in the 50s was like the first sort of youth rebellion in America anyway, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't know if there was much of a youth culture. I mean the Beat generation. I don't know. You know what I mean? But like so. Before that, like a dude, or a woman hit their 20s, and that's it. They're done.
Yeah.
Full on adults, right? Never looking back. Anything they were into as a teenager has nothing to do with life from this point forward.
Yeah.
because
get a job, get married, get a house, have kids.
Yeah.
Live happily ever after.
Yeah. And
that's a dream.
Yeah, that's what it was, And then now it's like we've had all these crazy. I mean, they're youth cultures.
But now you're 56 playing punk rock still.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
And the Rolling Stones are what in their 80s and playing, and it's like
still.
Who would have thought?
Keith Morse in his 60s. We were talking about the early Vinny Stigma. Kevin Seconds. Like they're my inspirations. Like these guys are still killing it on stage. They look great. They sound great.
I think Keith's almost 70, isn't he?
Probably.
Is he like 68 or something like that?
Up there with Stigma, yeah.
And then
but those are dudes. It's like, it's crazy, man. I don't know how long I'll play music for, but I'll play it as long as I can. I love it. You know what I mean? There's reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy that. Who knows? Because I never had a plan of like what I'm going to do. There's no retirement in this. I was thinking about this earlier about like the stuff you're going through from jumping around with your guitar all these years. There's nothing for that. There's Music Cares and there's stuff like these programs, but like there's no retirement in punk rock and music and stuff. There's no like 401ks. It's all that stuff. Like we dedicate our lives to the music.
Yeah.
Another thing I was saying about you is like it would never work for the look for Social Distortion because it never worked for the look of Ramones, but jumping around in Converse is so bad for you. Like you guys can't be on stage wearing Nikes or Hokas or running shoes, but like hardcore bands, like we're always jumping wearing like athletic shoes, but like you won't look cool in Social D like wearing some like really thick like running shoes, but like
dude, one time
shoes are the worst, bro.
I tried to walk on. Okay, so Mike has commented. I mean, he's the boss, man.
Yeah.
And he's commented on what I'm wearing.
Okay. Throughout your whole career?
Once.
Okay, once. Okay,
and that was pretty recently.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Right?
What were you wearing different?
I wanted to rock my Cortez, man, on stage. My Nikes.
That's hard.
Right?
You should be able.
And he was Converse and he just happened to sort of see me, and he's like, "Dude, is that what you're wearing?"
That's a classic.
I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "They're my Cortez, dude." He goes, "I know what they are, but I don't know." He goes, "But I don't know." It was the one time.
And those as a Nike head, those even one step up from your Converse because those are flat-footed too. But at least it's a step because you're wearing this Converse, man. Think about Ramones and all these dudes jumping with.
Yeah.
It looks so cool in the photos, but in reality, like jumping up and down on that is nothing for your spine, for your back. You know what I mean?
Dude, I wore winos for 3 decades.
I know you did on stage. You've never wore like any kind of other shoe on stage.
Well,
your whole life.
I used to wear boots and creepers.
I'm saying something with a balance. It's crazy. That definitely has some sort of effect on you jumping, I think.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Well,
it would never work.
I blew my knees out at 2 different times doing gigs. Once was when I was in Youth Brigade. I blew out my right knee.
Okay.
When we were over in Europe, we were touring with the Bouncing Souls. I remember that. And the next day, like I did a jump and I landed weird, and I felt like my knee cap kind of pull, like separate and then pop back in, and it didn't hurt. It wasn't accompanied by any kind of pain. The next day, though, it ballooned up, right? But it still didn't hurt. A couple days later, the swelling went down, and I was fine.
Yeah.
For like a year. But then it started like hurting and clicking and weird shit. And so to this day, that knee's weird. And then I was playing in the Bombs, and I did something weird, and I felt this burning pain shoot up the top of my kneecap. It hurt so bad. And that knee's never been the same. And I think that's where it starts. Like, because, your knees are compromised, and then
your whole body's getting no friction.
Yeah.
It's just going up and down.
Yeah.
But there's no way in hell anybody in Social is rocking like Nikes or trainers on stage. If you can't wear Cortez, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, because even those are like kind of flat. At least you tried, though.
Well, the funny thing is I'd rocked them a couple times already, but he finally
it went under the radar.
It went under the radar.
But Cortez is a very classic California West Coast shoe,
and he knew it. He knew what they were. It wasn't like he didn't know what they were, but still, like. But I the funny thing about it is that on any other day, in any other mood, it could have been different.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it just happened to line up that day where he wasn't having it.
They felt better. I bet they feel better than Converse for sure.
Yeah.
You put insoles in there?
Not anymore, because, and I don't know if this is
Dr. Insole, whatever it's called.
Well, so there's this thing. I got this chiropractor. He's great, you know, and he wears those shoes that are like designed to be like your barefoot.
Orthopedic shoes, whatever.
No, they're designed to be like.
Or you can go to like a place and you get fitted for running shoes or something.
No, they're not that. They're totally flat.
Okay.
And they're designed to be like being barefoot. They're like wider so that your feet and toes can spread out.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, we're built to be barefoot.
True.
Which would mean that like people used to run and sprint.
True. Without
shoes on and do everything without shoes on, right? So there's this new, I don't know how new it is, but you can get on Dr. Google, check it out. Apparently, the whole thing about having arch support, there's a set of voices out there crying like, no, this is not actually accurate. It's a myth, and it's made billions of dollars for this industry. But apparently, so I've been wearing these shoes, and they actually look like winos, but they're not.
Okay.
And they have soles that are kind of thin and super pliable.
Okay.
And they're wide, so your feet have a bunch of room. Your toes can spread out, and you can actually use your feet muscles, to do things, right? And that's what my chiropractor wears, and that's also the guy who does the myofascia stuff that broke up all the shit in my neck and got it better. He also wears them.
So, but none of them have told you should wear them on stage, and they know it. Do they know you jump around on stage and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. It's just interesting. I'm just saying that's just like, it's kind of a sacrifice for what we do, and what I mean? Like,
it's gnarly.
But like the Ramones, all those guys wore Converse. I remember the Pro Cats, like flat-footed shoes.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's just a thought.
I mean, we can. If CJ were here, we'd all be commiserating.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's got it too.
He does too, right?
Yeah, we're all in the same boat.
Interesting. Oh yeah, because he's a big dude too.
Yeah.
Always wore Converse.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's tall. He's a big dude.
Damn. You think you ever retire from playing music?
Who, me?
Yeah, I want to. Ever retire?
Man, I don't think so. I mean, I don't want to. I've been hearing that word getting tossed around a little bit lately by other people and other bands and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Like,
don't fix what ain't broke.
It's a little too early to start throwing that one around. Yeah. Come on, you guys.
especially if a band's still killing it.
Yeah.
I can see if nobody was coming anymore, nobody cared. I get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Do you have any major regrets in your life?
Oh yeah, I have plenty. Yeah.
Are those ones you try to like making amends with stuff in the past and with the
there's stuff that there are a lot of things, like on a super sort of personal note, like I wish I would have made more effort in creating a different relationship with my parents.
Yeah. Is your mom still here or no?
She's still here.
Do you see her?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
And we weren't close. I mean, she kind of took off when I was really young, and I didn't see her for for many, many years, and when I did see her in my mid-20s, I kind of,
you were kind of,
it was hard. Yeah, it was hard.
And for the cut her off. Yeah.
And so, I mean, she's good people, and she was just a baby when I was born. My parents were 20 and 21 when I was conceived, and right? They were just children, and
totally. And it's like my son having a kid right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't know what they were doing, and
she come out and see you play?
She does. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
She lives up in the Sacramento area.
Did your pops ever get to see you play?
He did. Yeah, he wasn't super into it.
I'm sure he's proud though.
I think on some level he was, and then on other levels he didn't really think anything I was doing was very good.
Yeah.
Wasn't his thing.
What did he want for you? Do you want to go to the military or something, or just
normal
life?
No, my dad was born on Camp Pendleton.
Oh wow!
And his dad was a sergeant major in the Marines, and I've never met the guy, or I guess
sergeant's no joke.
No, and he was a bastard from all accounts, man, a really hard dude.
So they just trickles. Okay.
Yeah, and then my dad being a hippie, you can imagine what their relationship was like. You know what I mean?
And then you were like the new hippies. You're a punk.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know what I mean? I get it. Okay. All that stuff's all, because I'm in therapy now too, the first time in my life. Nobody in my family's been in therapy. I'm the only one of my brothers, all that. But I'm learning about my grandparents and my grandfather. All that stuff trickles to your mom. Just all that stuff's interesting, dude.
Yeah. So I do. I wish I would have just been able to be more forgiving.
Gotcha.
Would be the best way to put it. And just,
I got resentment.
Knowing what I know now, right?
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now that I'm,
Totally.
older and all this time has gone by, and I feel like it's a serious regret actually, because I feel like I had decades to try my best to make things, to build relationships with these people, and I just wasn't interested in it. I was doing my thing.
Yeah.
I had my family, like we were talking about
Totally.
early,
Yeah.
and I've always viewed, my peers as my real family.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Same.
And so there's that, a lot of, I kind of, a lot of times I regret not having kids.
I was going to ask you that. Everyone had kids. Yeah.
I never thought I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I would be very good at it. I didn't want to
actually probably great at it.
I didn't want to take the chance though. I didn't want to.
You're scared. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty self-centered.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like,
okay.
I really am.
Respect.
It's like,
you like your own time. You like to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted siblings
single,
as a kid.
Only
I was really bummed that I didn't have siblings when I was a kid.
Okay.
I would have loved to have had brothers and sisters, but I didn't. It was just me. Yeah. And it was really kind of a lonely life. But
gotcha.
But so I just never really thought that I wanted to go down that road, and I definitely didn't want anything to interfere with my ability to jump in a van and take off with a band at any given time. Right?
No relationships, no responsibilities, none of that
I
stuff.
kind of by design.
Nobody to answer to.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
why the girls didn't last. You different relationships. You were just like, you on a move.
Yeah. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
I like kids, man. We got, I love Sheila's nieces and nephew. They're 7 and 8, and we go to all their sports games every weekend and everything, and they're awesome. They're out of control.
Of course.
So fun that they're so funny.
So fun.
Yeah, I love them. And anyway, so there's that. And what else? What other regrets would there be?
Seems like you probably made amends with a lot of people though too from the past. In your steps,
a
right?
lot of them.
Yeah.
I missed some. I missed opportunities to make amends, and people are gone. Okay. And I can't now.
Yeah.
And not intentionally. I'm so like ADD, man. It's just like, or ADHD or whatever it's called. I just shit goes out of my brain, and that's it. I don't even, and it's like I'm not even aware of what's happening. I'm just focused on this. One thing, and then all of a sudden, like all this time's gone by or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh shit. I should have done this, and I should have acted on this. I should have taken advantage of the opportunity. But when you're young, man, you think that opportunity is always going to be there.
It's true.
And it's like I don't know why it's been so intense just this last year, since all this crazy shit with this experience with that drug and all that. Yeah. But it's just all came up. All this stuff, all this awareness. Yeah. And all this retrospect. Right. Yeah. And you're awake. You're focused. It's like I'm awake. Yeah. Yeah. And all of a sudden there it is, and this time last year, I wasn't tripping on any of this shit. I was just like playing guitar all the time. And, listening to records. Yeah. And doing what I had to do take the trash out, feed the cats. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Yeah. Are you still in the program too? Are you still part of it, even though it's 36 later, like meetings and stuff? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it's not a struggle no more. No. And in 36 years, you never had times you're like, my commitment to that has waned and ebbed and flowed over the years. Yeah. There's been times where I'm not really showing up at all for that stuff, and then I eventually go back to it, and because it's sometimes I get a lot out of it, and I'm definitely better when I'm sort of in that mode, because it helps me to see, it helps me to prioritize things that are important, and to be aware of things like just to be more aware of myself and for sure. Where I'm at and all that. And be with other people too that went through the same kind of stuff, and also to be there for people that are seeking. Yeah, that's the main thing. You're absolutely right. You've been sponsored for people too. I have, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, and it's cool. It's a cool thing. Are you optimist or pessimist? I'm a pessimist. Really? Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Nobody's really ever said on this podcast. Really? Like, I'm a realist. I'm between. Like I love that. Oh man, my mind goes dark. Damn, your whole life you've been like that? Yeah, on everything. Wow. It's never gonna work. You always worried and stressed about shit? If I'm thinking about it, yeah. You know, like, yeah.
You hypochondriac?
You know what? Somebody said something the other day. They said, I don't remember who it was or where I heard it, but they said, life is great until I think about it.
Interesting.
Right? That's kind of me.
Especially the world right now, too. The world's yeah. So you've been a pessimist your whole life?
I have, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, because like I said, I've had a lot of anxiety, and I'm prone to certain levels of depression, and you know, it's just
Are you
like
mostly
in
happy,
the mirror,
though?
I was talking about being so terrified of life when I was using drugs and stuff, and that didn't necessarily go away entirely when I stopped doing all that. Like it's like I still struggle with that. That's just it's like I'm just it's a default, you know, that I just my brain just goes back to that, and that's why it's important for me to stay active and with my recovery, because it helps a lot, you know. And I think this therapy is going to help a lot too.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
First time going to therapy your whole life is.
Well, they dragged me to therapists when I was a kid.
Okay.
At times, you know, like
too young. Though.
Yeah.
Damn. So are you a pretty happy person though?
I can be. Yeah, I think so.
Pretty happy with your life at this moment in this place where you're at?
It's a rough year. But I know it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be okay, but it's a rough year, and it's even rough. It's a rough 4 years.
Yeah.
Considering what we've all been through with the pandemic and everything, and it's just affected us in so many ways. And I think a lot of people don't. Sheila and I were just talking about this the other day. It's like nobody's talking about, you know, the effects that this left on us, you know, like on so many people. Like there's got to be.
A lot of people got PTSD. A lot of people got so much from this.
For sure, man. It just changed. It changed everything. It's like it changed our world economically.
Yes.
Like in a horrible way. Like I don't understand how.
Yeah.
I don't even want to dive into that.
Just the way people like interact with each other, social media, division. Just there's so many things from it, man. It's fucking
social media.
Crazy.
I use it. I mean, I do. I don't do Facebook very much. I have it. I don't go on it very often because it just got too. It was a nightmare. It would just be. So, I mean, this is a few years ago, but it was so upsetting, right?
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Just seeing people that you love like saying the most outrageous.
I find myself hating people. Here's the thing. I find myself hating people on Facebook for whatever it is, right? And then I see them somewhere in person, and they're the same person I've always known. And it's like, what's up, brother?
It's like two different persons. You're so right.
You know?
There's so many people that I see on there, and you see in real life, it's totally different.
Yeah, it's like, this isn't the Facebook guy, right?
Like what happened there? Like, some people just cracked and just snapped the past couple of years.
I'll tell you something, Toby. As much of as many conveniences that the internet has created, I wish it never happened.
It's a dark place.
I wish the internet never happened, like on so many levels.
We're lucky we grew up without it though too, because this generation,
we were fine without it.
We're outside, we're hanging, skating, going to shows, building forts.
Yeah.
G.I. Joes.
Knocking down forts.
Smashing forts.
Dude, one time this kid, I had this arch nemesis, dude. So there was this kid, like I was a wannabe BMX guy when I was in probably like 5th grade or something.
Nice.
And I had this shitty Univega bike. It weighed like 4 tons. It was super heavy. And the gooseneck was like one of those shitty ones, the little one. Not like a rad tough neck.
Yeah.
Remember? You know, like
mongooses or something? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the rad shit. Okay. It was like, and I had broken that fucker so many times landing jumps. And the guy, this dude, his name was Theo, worked at the gas station, like the Arco on the corner, and he would weld that fucker every time.
Oh shit! Until
it was just a big gob of bird fucking shit, you know, like, and it never held. It just kept breaking over and over. But anyway, I wanted to be a BMX guy so bad, right? And dude, I would go steal BMXA magazine. BMX Action. Every month I'd steal that fucker because I stole from stores every day. Like I just was shoplifting constantly, candy and toys and shit. You know, and I just studied it like the Bible, and I knew everything about the sport, but I wasn't going to be involved in it because I didn't have the support. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was a vacant lot next door to our apartments, and I went and built the most badass track.
Wow.
With just a shovel and a rake, and like built berms and jumps and shit.
Holy shit.
Like kind of miniature, not like a full real one, you know, but like a little miniature one.
Yourself? That's cool.
Yeah. And this kid that lived around the corner, his name was Jimmy Ewing. And him and his they were my enemies, right?
Okay.
And him and his buddies came over one day and like just flattened all my work. Like just destroyed my BMX track, right?
It's horrible.
Well, on the same lot there was a couple trees over here in the corner, and him and his buddies had built this shitty fort, and it was like 3 stories high, just just pieces of fucking random pieces, because you could go to construction sites and get scraps and shit in those days, like when we were out living life as kids, right? And, you get your dad's tools out and fucking. So me and my friend were like, fuck them. We got sledgehammers out of the garage. Damn. And we went over to their fort. We start trying to knock this thing down, but we're such idiots. We start on the bottom and we work up. So we're on like the 3rd level of this fort. We're knocking the walls out and knocking all these 2x4s out. And all of a sudden it's like, creak, 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 and boom, it just gives. And I fall head first down. And on the way down, my leg on this side catches this nail. Oh. And I still have a gnar scar.
Stripped your whole shit?
It's just down to the fucking bone, just all the white meat hanging out. Like it was not. I hit the ground. Jump up and I'm hopping around and I think it's just a Charlie horse.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, oh, fuck.
Then you feel the blood.
Right? And then I look down and it's bleeding and shit. It was
Get to the hospital?
Yeah. We went over there and they stitched it up. And then I ripped the stitch. I don't know why, but the stitches came out early because I didn't take them out. But in any case, they came out early or whatever. And you know what I mean? It's just like, I have this big
fucking bullies.
It's so funny.
They knew you guys did it?
Probably. I don't remember anything happening. Like it wasn't like there was an altercation with the guy or nothing, but I mean, he fucked my thing up and we fucked his thing up.
And that's all real life shit when that's like no internet shit.
No internet.
So do you check your messages on social media?
Because nowadays he would just get on there and be like,
talk shit.
Fuck you.
Private account.
Yeah.
Do you check your DMs, your messages and stuff on there?
Sometimes. Yeah. On Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. Because friends of mine.
You ever get negative comments on shit or no?
Not so much.
Yeah, you can respond
here and there. Yeah. I try to reply to people that say cool shit about my posts too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I mostly use it for music related stuff.
Totally.
But I put personal shit up too sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
such a different world, man.
I mean, that's kind of cool. But even that being said, like trying to promote like I played at the Tiki Bar in Costa Mesa with my solo band.
Yep.
2 weeks ago. And I had to post every single day. I had to post something about the show on Instagram. Like I had to be that guy that was probably annoying the shit out of people because
on your IG story or IG regular?
Everything, all of it. I was using stories, regular posts, reels.
Did it work? Get people come?
Sometimes I'd post the flyer. Sometimes I'd post.
Change it up.
I'd post the video, and then in the description, I'd write.
Yeah.
Playing at the Tiki Bar, on the whatever the day.
Self-promotion.
But the thing about it is like you can't just like post up a flyer for a show that's in a month once.
Can't, because the algorithms and all that shit.
It kills it.
It's fucked.
Back in the day, first of all, there were flyers everywhere.
Totally, in your hand.
And second of all you had to do is go grab the weekly and bring it home.
Yeah.
And by the end of that week, you had thumbed through the whole thing at least once.
Totally.
While you're drinking your coffee in the morning or whatever you're doing, right?
Circling shows you want to go to.
Exactly, and everything was there, and you knew exactly what was happening. And I've missed so many shows that I would have loved to have seen because I don't even know they're happening. It's like the internet's worthless for promotion.
Yeah, you have to pay to promote now, pay for your boost, all that stuff. I've never done that. That shit's... Yeah, you're right. You have to be creative because you can't keep pounding people with the exact same image, the same flyer. You have to change it up with like live performance, a different kind of flyer, IG story, the link.
Yeah.
Because then it gets like you're desperate and pushing, but in reality, just trying to promote something the way you know how.
Yeah.
Was it a good show?
It was. It was a great turnout.
Yeah.
It turned out really well, but I had to really like force it down everybody's throat.
Can you promote your solo stuff off of Social Distortion's page or no?
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool. That's
cool.
Cool.
Social D's page posted it twice, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All that stuff helps. It's just the way it is. That's how people find out about shows. That's how people press one button, get a whole discography of a whole entire band's life.
But I don't understand how like a really big band, say like, I mean, huge, like Depeche Mode or something, they come to town. If you go on their Facebook or their Instagram, they're not even promoting it.
You're so right.
So how are they getting it out there? Is it like bands in town or some shit?
You're so right, because me and my wife discussed that about The Cure selling out the Hollywood Bowl twice or something. We saw nothing on social media about it, barely. We're like, how did The Cure do that? Just, I don't know how that works. Maybe they see them announce it once on their page. I don't know. It's a great point. Because The Cure is not all over social media, but somehow they sold all those tickets without you seeing it in your face 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't know how they just maybe see it one time and then that's like a whole different generation to the Cure of people before the internet. Also, there's young fans, but like, oh, the Cure is coming. Set my date. I'm buying tickets right now. That's it. Bought my tickets in advance, and then when it comes, it comes. Do you know, like, they sell out pretty fast, too.
Maybe it's like mailing lists.
If they still have that, bro. Like, people getting mailing lists?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Email blast or Facebook or...
I don't know.
It's just the way the world is, though, and how you promote. Like, it is in a sense a positive to be able to promote stuff when people can see it, though, for sure, you know, like... But all the algorithms, all that weird shit.
Or like, okay, how about like videos and shit? Like I'll post up a video of some cool song or, you know, a song of mine or a new song or something. And maybe, you know, a few hundred people see it.
Yeah.
Or, well, probably like a couple thousand see it and maybe
Yeah.
a couple hundred say something about it or whatever. But, or on YouTube, like you say you post up your video on YouTube, the new H2O video.
YouTube kind of crushes.
Right? And you're like, oh, look at this, man. We got like 500,000 hits in like in a month.
Yeah.
This is killer, right? Well, my buddy Jeff, who used to direct videos, and like he directed a bunch of really big videos in the 90s and shit.
Uh-huh.
He was like, yeah, that's great and all, but how about back when like you would make a video and it would be on MTV and it would be like, you know,
buzzword that get played like a million times.
Like a million times or a million viewers or more.
Get 0.
10 times a day. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
10 times a day.
And also the people that are
That's
watching
a good
it,
point, actually.
and they're watching it, the TV's on, right? And they may not even be paying attention. It might be background noise, but they're not scrolling. They're not able to scroll to the next thing.
No.
Like it's there and maybe they're like doing whatever they're doing, or maybe they're watching it. Maybe they're eating their lunch or they're, you know, or something watching it. But
that's a good point. Get shown like 10 times a day, but millions of views.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy back then.
Yeah.
But now you get paid for YouTube, I guess, for like whatever, like the commercials and all that stuff. Like people make a lot of money off of YouTube.
They do, right?
Yeah. I'm not really with it. I'm not really. We have no official page.
I know some guy posted my record like right when it came out, and it's like, it's I don't
it's
know
on there.
Yeah, and I don't know how many hits it's got. It had kind of a lot.
It's interesting how that stuff works. All that.
I don't know if it's enough to make any money,
technology.
but I'm like, damn, like that guy posted my record and nobody even said anything. Because I saw it a long time ago and I was like flattered.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. Guy likes my record. He posts the whole thing.
That's
like,
sick.
cool. People will hear it. But then once it starts getting up there in numbers, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Get some ads on there, like commercials. Yeah.
I know.
Such a crazy world, man. But we're in that world now. We came from like going to shows, looking up bands, thank list on records, fanzines, going to record stores, to, you know, here we are now.
What is that?
We're in a new dimension. We're in freaking 2024 or 2023.
66,000 views. Is
Really?
Is that enough to make any money?
That's pretty sick, though. That's pretty cool, though. So you don't need glasses only for reading? That's it? Not for driving or nothing?
No, it's getting bad, dude, especially just the last few
You
months.
can't fight it. You just got to go for it because you can't strain your eyes. I did that for so long. I was in denial.
Me too. And I keep telling myself, well, it's because of the reading glasses that my shit's going south.
No.
Right?
Yeah. Because you're taking them on and off, you mean?
Or just because I'm like making my eyes lazy. But that's not true.
Well, these are progressives, so there's nothing on the top, only on the bottom.
Mine are progressives too, but they're all three a prescription. All three sections are a different prescription. But like that laundry room sign over across the room, it's blurry.
Really?
A little bit blurry. And it didn't used to be blurry last year with the same glasses.
It's crazy. Oh, so it's been a year since you got your eyes checked?
Yeah.
You probably have to do it again because it just gets worse as we get older. I thought about the laser surgery, shit like that too, but it doesn't matter because it's still going to go bad for reading.
Yeah.
We're just getting old, man.
Got to accept it.
We're going to be in the, what's that thing called? The AARP? No, what is that?
Dude, I already got it.
Okay.
They're hitting me up,
Okay.
man.
It's kind of cool. Then
I throw that shit right away.
Then we'll be seeing.
I don't want to see it.
Do you like getting old?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
You don't dye your hair or nothing. You're not trying to hide it or
No,
nothing.
I'm not trying to hide it, but I don't like it.
Okay.
And once again, like
We have no
I wasn't
control,
even
though.
thinking about getting old last year.
Okay.
It's all this crazy year I'm in.
Mm.
Like all this shit. Like, wait a minute. Oh, whoa, I'm actually getting old.
This year's almost over though, so you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't fight it, man. It's gonna happen. We have no control of that.
The hardest parts is losing people, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's just been too many and too fast, and I just don't fucking dig it.
Yeah.
Not at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sucks.
And you're a pretty healthy guy? Like you eat good and take care of yourself? And
Pretty good. I probably eat too much sugar, and I probably eat like maybe, like carbs and shit, because I just want to eat Mexican food all the time. And
do you work out?
Sometimes I do, and other times I don't. I'm being super lazy about it right now.
Push-ups are good. I love keeping the push-ups in the mix.
Yeah.
Hiking, trying to run. I'm trying to do weights again. I'm just really trying to
I was doing weights again. I mean, not full on weight, but just dumbbells.
Yeah.
A few months ago, because to try to get all this stuff strong, I got to get back to that, and I got to get back to push-ups.
Yeah.
And I bought an elliptical.
Sick.
Which is killer. For me, that's a really great machine.
Yeah,
because
your knees and stuff. Yeah. What about what's that stuff everybody does? Pilates.
I've heard nothing but good
Armstrong's
things about Pilates.
Heavy into that.
Is
he kills it. Yeah, he swears by it.
So yoga was my thing for years.
Okay.
And I still do a lot of yoga.
Okay, that's good.
Postures.
I've never done that. I really want to do that.
I did Bikram started in 2004, because my back was shot in 2004. It was in bad shape. And Bikram within Lars. Funny, Lars took me to my first Bikram class. He was doing it at the time. It was right after his surgery.
Okay,
remember? So he took me to a class, and I had my low back was fucked up, and somehow my left wrist, I was getting carpal tunnel syndrome. Right. This is way back in like 2003, 4.
Okay.
And when I'd play a bar chord, it just burned. It hurt so bad.
Damn.
And I was trying all kinds of different things. Nothing. I was going to all these sports guys, therapists and stuff. Nothing. Just nothing working. And then Lars took me to Bikram yoga. And after the first class, I walked out of there and I could feel a huge difference. So I
kept going.
I jumped in, man, and I did it for years.
That's the hot yoga too, right?
Yeah.
It's gnarly, dude.
I did it for years, and it really super helped. The only problem is that you got to do it in a class.
Yes.
And I'd go on the road, and I would try to do it on the road, but it was a little harder, to be consistent with it. And then I'm beating myself up on stage every night, because I used to go too hard. I don't know if
in those Converse I see you, bro.
I don't know if it looked like it. Like you guys looked way more active than like we did.
You go off.
But I would go as hard as I could for decades.
Yeah.
Because almost like something to prove. Like I'm gonna fucking.
Yeah.
I'm in it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would just be so wiped out every night afterwards, especially after the knees got hurt. Because then everything else hurts more.
For sure.
Or whatever. But yeah, the yoga really super helped. But
I need to get into that.
I've been advised to do Pilates too, because it's a different kind of strength. I think it's more about strengthening than it is lengthening. And
it is getting stretched out and stuff. Yeah.
Which they're both
pretty
important.
Tim about it. Tim does that. He swears by it. It's cool. Well, fuck, man. This has been great. 2.5 hours, man. This has been awesome.
Oh, that went by quick. Yeah.
Dude, this is awesome. We covered your life, and I feel like I could talk to you on some other level shit too, like a part 2 someday, but really deep dive you. But this has been, I really appreciate you being here, man.
Oh, for sure.
We know each other for like fucking, I don't know how many years we know each other or when we met. I know we met before the U.S. Bombs tour somewhere through Moon. I don't know.
We met in New York. We met, I know where we met. So I remember, when I was in Youth Brigade, we pulled into the Lower East Side one day.
Okay.
It was when we played Wetlands.
Okay.
Wait.
Definitely went to that show.
Maybe it wasn't when we played Wetlands.
What year do you think it was? Early 90s?
95 maybe.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And we pull our van, and I don't know where we parked. It wasn't far from like St. Mark's or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's right there, right?
Mm-hmm. In the heart of it all.
And I get out of the van. It was about 4 p.m. You know Jonny Miller?
Yeah.
From Straight Faced?
Yeah.
Jonny was with us selling merch.
Okay.
And we're stretching, getting out. We're out on the street, and I look way down the block, dude. And you and Moon were walking in the opposite direction.
You probably saw her pink hair or something. Who knows? Yeah.
And I knew it was Moon.
Dang.
Right? And I go, I think that's my friend Moon down there. And he goes, oh yeah, and that's Toby from H2O.
Wow.
Right? But for some reason, like, I don't know if you guys jumped in a car or something happened, and that's why we didn't.
And that was it, yeah.
Because I don't think, did we run up to you or anything? Hey.
No, I remember, no.
But then the next thing, so I think I remember meeting you at the Wetlands Youth Brigade show. Does that sound right?
Moon for sure, yeah, probably, yeah. Who are you guys on tour with? Just headlining?
When Jonny was with us?
Yeah.
The Voodoo Glow Skulls.
Oh, okay, sick, wow.
Yeah, we were opening for them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Damn.
So maybe the Wetlands show wasn't with them. I don't know where we played with Voodoo's. Where would that have been? Irving Plaza, maybe, or
probably
something?
some big. Yeah, Wetlands is great. That was a great venue, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Damn.
Yeah, because the night that we played Wetlands, I remember the Souls all came out on their BMX bikes.
That was the shit. They lived in New York at that time.
Yeah.
That was like the BMX crew. That's crazy. East Coast, fuck you. All right, sick. Well, fuck. People can find you on social media, but you really don't answer those. You're not really on it like that to contact you. Do people contact you on there?
On Instagram?
Yeah, whatever.
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, it just depends. Like, I don't always look at it. Sometimes I just can't look at it at all.
You like being off the grid more, right?
Well, it's not being off the grid as much as I don't want to waste time.
Totally.
Because it's kind of depressing when you realize you just blew an hour staring at your phone.
If you look at your time you spent on your phone, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're all addicted to it, man. It's fucking crazy.
I know. I can be bad with it for sure. Dude, one time the twins,
pandemic.
Sheila's nieces, the twins, when they were like super little, dude, they had to have been not even maybe 5 years old yet. And I wasn't there that day. It was some family thing. And so Sheila goes, hey, do an impression of Uncle Johnny. And they had they had baseball hats.
Put the phone out.
Right? And they sat next to each other, they're twins, on the couch, staring down at phones.
Oh, man.
And she has a picture of it. And it bummed me out so hard. I'm like, that's me? Like, that's just not cool.
Fuck.
It was a big eye opener for
Damn. So you've been pretty good about it since?
Yeah, I'm better about it now, probably. You
shut your phone off completely at night?
Sheila won't let me.
Okay.
She's like, what if somebody needs to what if it's an emergency? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's true. But I also don't want this phone next to me, like on,
dude.
searing into my brain.
Brutal.
It's gnarly, right?
Yeah.
Damn. So what I do is I put it on airplane mode, and I think that you can cut through. Isn't it? Can't you cut through airplane mode?
If emergency, probably. Yeah.
Something. I'm just maybe it's wishful thinking, but at least with airplane mode, it's not like. I think it's not getting like.
Yeah. It sucks you can use your phones on airplanes now too. There's Wi-Fi. It's like, fuck. I used to love shutting my phone off for the whole flight and just zoning out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what am I going to miss? You're missing shit. You're not missing nothing.
Yeah.
Life's still going to be there. We're all addicted, but do our best, man. We're not perfect.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, Two Bags. Thank you for being here, brother.
Thanks, Toby. This has been fun. Thanks.
So fun.
Anytime.
Peace, everybody. Bye. Back in the pod with Two Bags. How are you, Johnny?
I'm great. How are you, Toby?
Good. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you, sir.
How's the tour going out there? Bad Religion, man. Looks amazing.
Oh my God, it's been awesome. They went home. Tonight's going to be our second night without VR. But we did like 7 weeks together, I think, or something.
7 weeks straight out there, or just like with some breaks in between?
No breaks.
Wow.
Yeah. We just have a few more
though.
shows. Yeah, we get days off. I don't like days off that much.
Me either, dude.
I'd rather just keep going.
So the show's been going good. I saw the one outside in New York. It looked incredible.
Yeah, so fun. I just love being able to watch Bad Religion play every night. They're one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time.
That's incredible. And that's awesome to play with them and tour with them. And how's Mike doing? Mike's doing good?
He's great. He's healthy. He's singing better than ever.
So sick, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's been really great.
That was a scary moment, especially like with something in your throat, and that's what you do. You sing, so like he's just powering through it, man. PMA and just support and love. Yeah, it's awesome to see all that shit, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And how's Sheila doing? I know we talked about her on the podcast as well.
She's good. Yeah, she's. I miss her. I'm gonna be home on the 27th.
Oh, perfect.
Day after my birthday.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Where you at now? What city you in now?
Omaha.
Ooh, Omaha, Nebraska. Wow.
Yeah, and this venue's like it's called the Astro, and it's real nice and everything, but it's like the county jail or something. It's just bricks and hallways and concrete.
Oh, it's like super cold.
Yeah. No
wow,
artwork or anything anyway.
What's the weather like out there?
It looks nice. To be honest, I haven't really been out yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and cruise around in a little bit after we get off the phone.
You like
for our sound check.
You like cruising around the towns and stuff?
Yeah. I've always been like that. I like to just go out for long walks.
Do you wake up early on tour?
On this tour, I've been waking up around 9.
That's good. Yeah.
I think I used to sleep a little longer. I can remember being on tours in Europe where I like with the bombs and stuff, where I just like this one tour. It was like winter. It was just gray every day. You've been on those, and I slept for like 14 hours a day.
Jesus, that's crazy.
I just stayed in the bunk, man. I'd get up like right before sound check.
Dude, the bunk is so sick. Like going from a van to a bunk is just like, it's unreal, dude.
I know, it's such a huge difference.
It's just so night and day, you know what I mean?
But you know what you miss out on? I'm not complaining about the luxuries of a bus or anything, but you miss out on seeing things in the day on a day driving in a van.
It's kind of true.
Because we always travel at night.
Yeah.
So we get on the bus, go to sleep, wake up at the next venue.
Don't see anything.
Yeah, except for what's around there. And I like the drives. I've done so much van touring in my life, well over 10 years of it.
Yeah.
And then it's great. It's some of the best times of my life, to be honest.
So how much is left of the tour?
Just a few days.
That's wow.
What's today? Today is what is it, the 20? Oh yeah, I'm home on the 27th, so just
perfect.
Five more days, yeah.
And then what's next for you guys?
We're gonna play that Pomona show.
Oh yeah.
No Values.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for that. I can't wait. I'll be back for that. I cannot wait.
That's crazy.
Sick.
How are all those bands gonna play in a single day?
No, dude, it's a great.
Right?
It's a question everybody's asking. There's gonna have to be some overlapping of bands playing against each other, like the Warped Tour for sure.
Yeah, that's the only way, right?
Yeah, and then what about like some new music for you guys?
Next year.
Okay.
For the release, anyway.
Okay, awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you guys got some touring in this summer too at all, Europe or anything, or?
We're gonna go out and do. Is that a fall thing, Brent? The next one? Fall. We're going to do a fall tour, U.S. tour, and then we're going to play end of the year West Coast shows.
Nice.
Like around the holidays.
Nice.
Like, remember how we used to always do this?
House of Blues. Yeah, bro. We saw like 10 House of Blues in a row. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to that kind of thing. It's just the House of Blues in Anaheim is different. It's a different one. And like that one, the one that was at Disney.
I remember that one.
I think one year we did over 30 shows there.
Wow, dude.
And that was just that one. And then we did like the Hollywood one was like 15 or something.
I love the Hollywood one. That was so cool. I like that venue a lot. Yeah.
I know. I'm so bummed it's gone.
Damn, man. So that's crazy. That's a nice way to end the year, man. That's cool.
Yeah, like San Diego, Orange County, LA, a couple Vegas shows probably.
Awesome, man. Well, good, man. Have a good couple rest of your shows. Just want to catch up since we did the podcast originally and see what's going on in your life and your family and all that stuff. I'm glad things are going good. I'm glad everybody's healthy and you guys are out there, man. It's exciting. I wish I could saw one of those shows. Was there an LA show for that?
There wasn't.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. I would have been there for sure.
There was supposed to be one, and then I don't know, something happened, and just I know what happened. No Values. That's what happens.
That's the LA show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the LA show. I wish we would have done like a Palladium or something. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, we're playing the June 14th, the Palladium with Terror and Ended and Angel Dust and Drain. It's this big hardcore show. It's gonna be pretty. I'm pretty psyched, man. It's gonna be cool.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, man.
How's Mooney and Max?
Mooney and Max are good. They're coming to Europe with me today.
Are they?
Yeah, Moon's selling merch. Max plays drums with us now, so it's exciting, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so great. Just like old times. Moon's selling merch. Yeah.
Moon's coming out of retirement for this one.
That's so cool.
I know, it's cool. But
I love it.
Well, have a great rest of your tour, and I'll see you at No Values for sure, man. And happy belated birthday. And Thanks for being on this podcast. I'm stoked, and for your patience.
Toby.
And all that.
Thanks for having me, man, and give my love to the family, and have a great tour over there.
All right, brother. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay, peace. Bye.
Later.
I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much, didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life One Chance podcast is now with Removery. I have a code. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations. US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art Pico-Way laser technology. Cryo-technology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, we talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.